If you've ever missed us, and glad we're back, that makes all of us. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Indeed, we are back from our multi-day company-wide meeting. That was awesome, by the way. I'm sorry for being off for 3 days, but it needed to happen. And guess what? We made it. We are back. We're going to start today off talking about some more news. We're going to get you caught up on everything that's going on. We got some movers this morning, especially in biotech land, so it should be fun. We got a full docket here for you today. Guest free on this Monday, so we're going to roll news, charts, and trading setups all day here. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Monday edition for April 13th, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces and perhaps more importantly, well, actually not more importantly, the same importance, it is great to be back. I want to start off by saying, producer and I, we have a lot of flexibility here to make this what it is that we want, but in some cases, we have to do what the bosses say, and the bosses said we had a company-wide meeting, so it is what it is. Like I said, though, went really well, and while we were there all in person, we actually talked about you folks and how happy we are, how much we like doing all of this, and how you folks brighten our day all of the time. So it is good to be back. It is good to have you back. It's great to see a whole bunch of positivity already flowing in the chat. Number of folks waiting to start here. It means more than you folks know. Big Hurt is first after our hiatus. Good morning, Big Hurt. Great to see you. Welcome back. Big Dave is second. Good morning, Ryan and traders. Good to see y'all back. Any news you can share? So we don't have any news in terms of specific things that we're going to be changing about the show or anything like that. I don't even know that I necessarily have specific news to share with you, but we do have kind of like this revitalization and re-energization. That's not a word. We're re-energized towards what we are doing here. So I would say keep the feedback coming. You folks have been absolutely great about that. Keep the feedback coming. I personally think that there's a lot of good things ahead. That's what I will say. And y'all will be happy to know that producer absolutely whooped ass on the golf course. He was by far the best player of all of our group. So that's the news that I could share. Welcome back, Big Dave. It's good to see you. Cad Monkey, good morning. Welcome back. IDYA, indeed, that's going to be one of our new movers here. We're going to cover that shortly. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Derek, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken says, good morning to the Benzie gang. The timing of taking those 3 days off air, nervous laughter. Whatever could you be referring to? Let us know what the issue is there. Zach, all joking aside, it's glad to be back. Good afternoon to you. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Welcome back. Thank you for the well wishes. Producer says, good to be back, everyone. Thanks for bearing with us as we took time off last week. Like I said, producer and I absolutely needed to do it. And it was good. It was a net positive across the board, and I hope that that will be reflected in shows going forward here, as well as what we offer as a company. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Welcome back. So glad y'all are back. I will take that. We're glad to be back. We're glad that you are back as well. Good morning. Yes, that girl. It's great to see you. Brian, good morning. Missed y'all. I see all of this positivity. This is the stuff that we need on a Monday morning. Appreciate you, Brad. Good to see you. Welcome back. Kelly, good morning. Welcome back. Jim, good morning. Welcome back. And thank you for welcoming us back. Whis, good morning. Welcome back. What'd you think of the Masters there? I thought Rory might kick it away, but good. I tell you what, Rory's Masters too didn't really do well for all those years. And then all of a sudden at once, fourth player to ever go back-to-back. Pretty awesome. Good morning, Wis. Welcome back. Marionette, good morning. Welcome back. Thanks for all of your feedback. We appreciate you. Hopefully all is well for you. Dirkus, welcome back. It's good to be seen, Dirkus. It's good to be seen. We'll just leave it at that. Jay, good morning. Welcome back. Jonas, good morning. Welcome back. We're only 4 months into the year, and we already are fighting the Pope. Are we? Threatening to invade the Vatican on their bingo card. Well, I certainly didn't. I don't think that's the case, but maybe I missed something here. And I was wrapped up in all of my travel and Masters coverage. Marty, good morning. Welcome back. What happened to all of the messages from 6 a.m. on? Well, I think when you take a couple of days off, people don't show up as early as they used to. But don't worry, Marty, we're back. And as a piece of homework, you should be first tomorrow. Get in there as early as you can. Get those messages going. HP Darkside Hemi. I actually saw a lot of Hemis driving around when I was in Detroit. I kept thinking to myself, there's a lot of Mopar power driving around town here. I didn't have my car, so I didn't do anything about it, but did see a lot of Hemis. It's good to see you, our favorite Hemi, back here this morning. Maverick, good morning. Welcome back. Go Habs, go. Didn't catch the Canadians game. They're going to the playoffs, though, right? Good luck to your Habs. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Kenneth, good morning. Welcome back. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Good to see you. It is good to be seen as well. Tyler, good morning. Welcome back. Matthew, good morning. Welcome back. Ed, good morning. Welcome back. Ooh, no, you guys are changing it up again? We are? What did we do differently? I don't know what you mean, but nonetheless, welcome back. Brandy, good morning. It's great to see you as always. Rooster, good morning. Welcome back. Robert, good morning. Empyrean, good morning. Lion, good morning. Chris, good morning. Hello, friends. How about Rory? I tell you what, it was really good watching yesterday. That's for sure. On Semiconductor today and long term, they got an upgrade, and those components should be used in car parts going forward, especially as we move to autonomous. That's what Bank of America's note really focused on there. I'm with you on that one. Don't forget, actually, there were a couple of folks from our chat that said ON was a really good buy back in the 40s and 50s. And actually, back then, I was a bit unsure of it. I think I feel better about it now. Whether it's on semiconductor or on shoes, I think you're in good shape there. Drew, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through. Good morning. Welcome back. Ryan, you missed a lot, Ryan. Yeah, I tend to, but I also did a lot at the same time. So it net evens out, maybe, question mark. Flag Drones, good morning. Welcome back. CJ, Masters never disappoints. Yo, I went in thinking, are we not going to have an exciting Masters Sunday? And then I watched what happened on Saturday, and I was like, nope, we're going to be just fine. And indeed we were. Okay. Gene, good morning. Ed, good morning. And then, yeah, Lion said, I said it a few months ago about ON. Like I said, we'll start off with an early register ring. That on move has been great. It's been great for a while. It's been a great swing trade. It was a great swing trade in an environment where swing trading wasn't really the best way to trade. Ended up working out. So really good stuff there. The editor, good morning. Welcome back. Aldo, good morning. Welcome back. Okay. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures under pressure ahead of Monday's open here for April 13th. S&P futures down 0.66%. They are up off the overnight or weekend lows, but they're still facing a gap down here at the open. Dow futures down 0.99%, and the NASDAQ futures down 0.70%. Now, let's take a look at some cues from last session, shall we? Information technology, real estate, and consumer discretionary stocks recorded the biggest gains on Friday. However, healthcare and consumer staples and financials declined. Scroll back up here real quick. U.S. stock futures declined on Monday following Friday's mixed close. Futures of major benchmark indices were lower after President Trump announced a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. On Friday, the Dow Jones Index closed about 270 points lower after Iran blamed Israel for violating the ceasefire with attacks on Lebanon. The peace talks being held in Islamabad collapsed on Sunday after 21 hours of discussion. While Vice President J.D. Vance said that Washington would not compromise on its core demands, Iran stated that the demands made by the U.S. were excessive. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yield stood at 4.33%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.82% at the time of this writing. CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show markets pricing in a 96.4% likelihood of the Federal Reserve leaving the current interest rates unchanged in April. Now, I've got several stocks in focus here for you today. The first one is going to be Goldman Sachs. This is ticker GS. Wall Street expects Goldman Sachs to report quarterly earnings at $16.41 per share on revenue of $16.93 billion before the opening bell. Now, we've since got that report. Goldman Sachs Group Q1 EPS of $17.55 beats the $16.30 estimate, and sales of $17.227 billion beat the $16.97 billion estimate. That was not enough to save Goldman Sachs. We are down now 4% and looking to get worse as the morning continues. The next stock on our list is going to be Fastenal, and the ticker on this one is FAST. FAST. Analysts are expecting Fastenal to post quarterly earnings at 30 cents per share on revenue of $2.19 billion. Just like Goldman Sachs, we've got Fastenal's EPS here, a 30-cent EPS print, which is in line. Sales of $2.202 billion, beat the $2.199 billion estimate. The next stock on our list is going to be Children's Place, and this is ticker PLCE. It tumbled more than 16% in Monday's pre-market session after the company's fourth quarter results missed expectations. Children's Place reported a quarterly loss of $1.86 per share, missing the consensus estimate loss of 96 cents per share. Now, the next stock on our list also happens to be a mover here today. The ticker is IDYA. Let me make sure I get that correct because I'm likely to mess it up today. IDYA, India Dog Yankee Alpha. Shares of IDEA Biosciences soared more than 16% before the bell ahead of the company's announcement of top-line results from its ongoing Phase 2-3 resignation trial for Optum-02. Almost started with the next story there, producer. It's going to probably take a day for me to get back on track here. But nonetheless, we ended up not screwing that up, thankfully. Let's take a look at the SPY chart here because, as you would guess, we're in a pretty important position here. Obviously, last week we had the gap up from Tuesday to Wednesday. Again, sorry we weren't there for you. Looking at you, Zach. Anyway, we gapped up and we moved above several of the moving averages. The big one here, at least I think the big one here, is going to be that 50-day. We moved above it. We actually tested falling beneath it. We were able to close and push above it. In fact, we moved above the 100-day as well. Today, however, with the gap down, it actually looks like we're going to be testing this 673.87 level. Now, we're currently at 675.03 here in the pre-market, so we're up about 1.25 points from the moving average. And of course, we want to see a candle close above this moving average. If it peaks below, if it trades down, if it does any of that, that's fine. Where does the candle close? The big part about this is that the 50-day moving average is actually sitting right above the support and resistance area that we have been talking about now for almost a full year. I guess maybe half a year. October is when we really started to move into this. We tested it in September, but October is really when things kind of changed for us here. We're right back testing that range. So if the 50, it looks, at least from the start of the day here with the market trading down, it actually looks like we're in a pretty good spot. We're maybe back testing this pop a little bit, and we're doing it against the support area. So that would be great. But really, what is going to happen here with the close? I mean, your guess is as good as mine. What we see here today, we're going to react to whatever hand gets put in front of us personally. But anyway, I'd love to see us hold the 50 here. Better still, I'd actually like us to reverse and maybe even get a close above 678, 680, 681. That looks to be a pretty good level that might induce some bullishness here if we're able to do that. When we closed here, we were about 680 and a half. So if we can get back to 680, that'd be great here today. No guarantee that's going to happen. And of course, to the downside, if we are unable to hold the 50, or if we're going to break this support area, we're probably going to fill this gap. That would be my guess. That would mean a closing print beneath the 200-day, maybe some support by the 20-day, depending on how fast it happens. But again, if we lose any of these support areas here, I would be totally not surprised if we end up giving that gap up. So we'll see. Pretty important day, at least in my opinion, for us to hold above that 50-day moving average. We'll see if we have the strength to do that. Now, Let's go ahead and take a look at some insights from analysts here, shall we? Allianz chief economic advisor Mohammed El-Arian painted a sobering picture following the announcement of a blockade by the U.S. in the Strait of Hormuz. He said that this would raise incremental costs for Iran, U.S., and the nations importing crude oil from the Middle Eastern country. He also cautioned that the global economy would be affected as a result of the blockade. Quote, companies, countries, and households worldwide are facing the burden of what is likely going to be another leg up in the price of energy, helium, fertilizers, etc. End quote. Michael Townsend, managing director of legislative and regulatory affairs at Schwab, cautioned that the Strait of Hormuz being blocked would raise oil costs not just for Asia, but also the U.S., since oil is priced globally. Quote, there's a growing concern both in Washington and among investors that no matter how quickly the war ends, the economic fallout is likely to last for months, end quote. Now, what I will say here before we move on from this is that this is exactly what we've kind of expected here. No matter what side of this you're on, for lack of a better term, we have all kind of agreed that really the price of oil is going to be what dictates everything here. And the length of the conflict and thus the disruption to oil is going to be the big cog in that calculus equation. And that's what we're seeing here now. Now, at the beginning of all of this, the president said this is going to be a short war. The market traded like that for a little bit, but it is definitely starting to drag on beyond his initial window. And I would say that the longer that goes on, the more jittery markets are going to be. Now, can we get the markets to maybe have a little bit of nervousness and a pull down and that kind of capitulatory move down prior to when seasonality says we should be changing? Or is seasonality going to be enough? The answer to that, not yet known, but those are definitely going to be things that we're going to keep looking at here. Now, really quick, I just want to run down some of the economic events here for you this week. Existing home sales data for March will be released at 10. Federal Reserve Governor Stephen Miron is scheduled to speak at 6:20. Tomorrow, we get the Producers Price Index for March. That'll be out at 8:30. And we get Fed Governor Michael Barr scheduled to speak at 5:50. On Wednesday, the Import Price Index for March and the Empire State Manufacturing Survey for April will be released at 8:30. Fed Governor Michael Barr scheduled to speak at 8:30. Fed Vice Chair of Supervision Michelle Bowman will speak at 1:45. On Thursday, we get initial jobless claims for the week ending April 11th. That'll be released at 8:30 as per usual. And we also get New York Fed President John Williams speaking at 8:35 p.m., a little bit late there, while Fed Governor Stephen Miron will speak at 10:35 in the morning. On Friday, we get San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly speaking at 11:30 Eastern. Richmond Fed President Tom Barkin will speak at 12:15 Eastern. And Fed Governor Christopher Waller will speak at 2. So there are some economic data here today, but not a terribly heavy week for that, if you will. All right, next story here. It invokes Jim Cramer and it invokes the administration. So put your hard hats on, folks. Television host Jim Cramer says that analysts are not taking the crude oil price surge into account were naive as President Trump announced a U.S.-led blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. In a post on the social media platform X on Monday, the investor said, quote, very few analysts seem to care that oil has gone above 100. They have cordoned off oil as a factor, end quote, calling the move Panglossian or naive. He then shared that while he acknowledged the possibility of the U.S. facing supply shortages was low, analysts wanted to, quote, buy the dip ahead of a blockade as if the market will rally when the blockade takes effect. Now, for anyone that wants this or wants Cramer's tweets or just saying, if you want to see what the responses to Cramer's tweets are, there is the tweet itself. So he's not the only one making some noise about this. By the way, investor and Echelon Wealth Partners co-founder Peter Schiff also cautioned against rising crude oil prices, suggesting that it could hit $150 a barrel in the coming days amid Trump's blockade. Quote, the talks designed to open the Strait of Hormuz will result in the strait being closed tighter than ever, end quote. That came from Schiff. That's a very Schiffian comment, as you might think. Following Trump's announcement, Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, issued a warning to Americans saying that a U.S. blockade of Iranian ports would send oil prices sharply higher, so much so that ordinary people would be nostalgic for $4 to $5 gas, end quote. We'll see if that happens here. The warnings come as talks of a deal between the U.S. and Iran, facilitated by Pakistan in Islamabad, failed. Vice President J.D. Vance maintaining that his delegation pushed for the Iranians not to pursue nuclear weapons. That still looks to be one of the big hangups here. Now, at the time of this, West Texas Intermediate, or WTI oil, was 104.6 a barrel, while Brent crude was up 7.92% to 102.7 per barrel. According to data from the American Automobile Association, or AAA, the national average price for a gallon of gas in the U.S. was $4.12 on Monday. Californians continue to pay the highest price at the pump, with a gallon of gas costing $5.89, and that's for regular. I pay I think the last time I paid, I think it was like $3.90 or $4.20 or something for premium. Just huge. And like we've said from the beginning here, the length of the disruption, that is going to drive everything else in this conflict. And that is exactly what we're seeing here. Tell me if you agree with Kramer on this. I'd be curious to see if we can get any agreement on that. Now, next one here. This was news from late Friday. And this is on SanDisk. So obviously these memory players have been some of the best stocks for us trading wise and all of that. Now, here, SanDisk, will become a component of the NASDAQ 100. SanDisk, ticker SNDK, shares are up during Monday's pre-market session. On Friday, the company disclosed it will join the NASDAQ 100 index on April 20th. That's 420, by the way, 2026. And it will replace Atlassian, which is ticker TEAM. They're the parent company of the program Jira, which some of you may have used or still use, perhaps. This news is contributing to a positive sentiment around the stock as it gains recognition among major market players, while broader markets experienced declines on Friday. SanDisk will become a component of the NASDAQ 100 index, a significant milestone that highlights its market presence. This change is set to take effect prior to the market opening on April 20th, as I just said. Now, April 20th here is next Monday. The broader market saw losses on Friday, with the S&P 500 falling 0.52% and the NASDAQ declining 0.63%. SanDisk's rise comes as the technology sector struggles, indicating that the stock may be moving on company-specific news rather than broader market trends. Also seems to move in conjunction with some of those other memory names. At $8.69, the stock is trading 22.8% above its 20-day simple moving average and 84.7% above its 100-day moving average. Just eye-popping numbers. That suggests strong short-term and intermediate-term momentum. Stock's position above these moving averages indicates bullish sentiment among traders. The Relative Strength Index, or RSI, currently sits at 67.98, which is neutral, suggesting that the stock is not yet overbought, but could be approaching overbought territory if momentum continues. This level indicates that while there is buying interest, caution may be warranted as the stock approaches the upper bound of the trading range. Now, real quick here, one thing that we had been discussing recently is specific to RSI. One of the gentlemen on the Happy Hour show that was saying that when it comes to overbought and oversold, when it comes to RSI, he actually likes to adjust the RSI settings from 70 and 30 being overbought and oversold to 80-20. And for a stock like SanDisk, I think that's going to work a lot better. When we saw this on the move up, the thing stayed overbought for a long time. So something else to consider there. I've actually changed my charts around in my broker a little bit just to kind of reflect all of this. And I thought about that specifically when it came to this story. Now, looking at SanDisk here, it's EPS. We know the story here, right? The price of memory is up, so it's absolutely smoking earnings. Does not look like that's going to be abated here. Cantor has an overweight rating. They raised their target on April 9th to $1,000 here on SanDisk. Bank of America's at a buy. They raised their target to 900. That came at the end of March 23rd. And Citigroup is at a buy. They raised their target to 875. That came from March 19th. So a lot of upside targets here on SanDisk. Doesn't look like this is going anywhere. Buffalo by Bicycle saying SanDisk is rocking. Yeah, indeed it is. Indeed it is. And actually, let me check it here in the pre-market. Indeed, SanDisk closed at 851 on Friday. And despite the red arrows here in the pre-market today, 865 is where we're currently sitting ahead of Tuesday's open. So SanDisk still getting it done. All right, next news story here. This is Taiwan Semiconductor. This is probably been the best play, the thing behind the thing for the AI trade. At least it sure feels that way. Got some news here. Key contract chip maker Taiwan Semiconductor, or ticker TSM, is set to post another record quarter as strong AI-driven demand and tight chip supply continue to fuel growth. That is, of course, according to an analyst. The same analyst estimates Taiwan Semiconductor will post a roughly 50% jump in first quarter net profit. 50%. Marking a fourth straight record period as demand for AI infrastructure continues to surge. Forecasts compiled by LSEG point to net income of about 542.6 billion new Taiwanese dollars, while any result above 505.7 billion new Taiwanese dollars would set a new quarterly record and extend its profit growth streak. That was reported by Reuters on Monday. Experts say demand for advanced technologies, especially a 3-nanometer chip and packaging used in AI processors, continues to exceed supply. And this is going to be a story I'm sure we're going to check all the rest of this year and into next year. And again, all of the data here, nothing is being tailed back yet, or curtailed at all would be the right word. Arthur Lay, head of technology research for Asia at Macquarie Capital, said he expects stronger quarter-on-quarter revenue guidance for the second quarter, driven by ongoing AI demand and Taiwan Semiconductor's leadership in advanced nodes. Despite geopolitical risks tied to the Middle East, analysts believe Taiwan Semiconductor remains resilient. Galen Zhang, senior research manager at IDC, said the company's diversified sourcing and inventory buffers should help it manage short-term disruptions, while also noting that future capital spending decisions will signal management's confidence in long-term AI demand. And again, we don't see that going anywhere, that's for sure. We will keep watching all of this. There's no question about that. But so far, it seems like full steam ahead. Separately, Bank of America Securities raised its price target on Taiwan Semiconductor and maintained a buy rating, citing strong demand for high-performance computing, full utilization of 3-nanometer capacity, and customers' willingness to pay premium prices. At 367.50, Taiwan Semiconductor is trading 7.5% above its 20-day simple moving average, the stock's average price over the last 20 sessions, which suggests that buyers have kept the short-term trend pointed up despite the pre-market pullback. It's also trading 12.1% above its 100-day moving average, indicating that the intermediate trend is tilted higher. And indeed, we have some key resistance here on Taiwan Semiconductor, 390. That's where rallies have recently stalled, and it's right near the 52-week high zone, so that checks out. That makes sense. We have some pretty good support here at 332. That's an area where buyers have previously defended after some of these pullbacks. Now, what does Taiwan Semiconductor do today and the rest of the year? I expect this to have a great rest of 2026. Looks like today it's a little bit choppy, really kind of bumping up to that 370 area. So if we break that, maybe 390 comes into play. We'll see. Davidson initiated with a buy, 450 target. Barclays overweight, 450 target, and TD Cowen hold 370 target. That TD Cowen rating came at the middle of January. I wouldn't be surprised if TD Cowen has to adjust that here in the near term. That would just be my guess on that. We'll see how it shakes out. Okay, next story here again. I told you there was some biotech stuff going on. GSK, or GlaxoSmithKline, reportedly promising early data for an experimental cancer drug. Good data about cancer treatments, always welcomed by the market and otherwise. British drug maker, It's a Monday, folks. British drug maker GSK, GlaxoSmithKline, is betting on blockbuster potential for its experimental cancer therapy Mores after early trial data showed the drug shrank tumors in patients with advanced, hard-to-treat gynecological cancers. Quote, "Do we think it would be a blockbuster? Yes, absolutely." End quote. That's GSK's head of oncology research, Hesham Abdullah, and he told that to reporters on Sunday as the data was presented at a medical conference in Puerto Rico. That was according to Reuters. In a platinum-resistant ovarian cancer, 62% of patients achieved at least a 30% reduction in tumor size. In its endometrial cancer, 67% met that threshold. Mores is an antibody drug conjugate that targets the B7H4 protein found in gynecological cancers. God, I cannot say that word. I'm terrible. Gynecological cancers, but largely absent from healthy tissue. GSK licensed the drug from China's Hansoh Pharma in 2023. The ADC market is projected to reach $31 billion by 2030. The results add momentum to GSK's fast-growing oncology business. CEO Luke Meals, who took the role in January, has pushed for a faster development pace. GSK is currently running 2 late-stage trials for Mores in ovarian and endometrial cancers and plans to launch 3 additional studies in the coming months. The Mores data comes as GSK continues to build out its portfolio. The FDA approved its severe asthma treatment Exdensur in December of 2025, with trial data showing a 58% reduction in asthma exacerbations. In March of 2026, the FDA expanded the approved age indication for its RSV vaccine, Arexvy, to adults aged 18 to 49 at higher risk, broadening its addressable market. Now, GSK has also joined the Trump administration's TrumpRx.gov platform, offering discounts on several drugs, including a 55% reduction in its COPD treatment in Cruise. So we'll see here. I'm sorry for stumbling over some of the drug words there. Any type of good data on any type of cancer gets my attention without a doubt. So figure we would share all of that with you. All right. Next here, this is also just kind of a update here on the memory sector, which we've been talking about. We just talked about SanDisk. We've talked about Micron. We've talked about WDC. We've talked about STX, Seagate, and all of that. Little bit of an update here. I want to keep you posted on all of this. SK Hynix is accelerating its push into AI chips through hiring, capacity expansion, and strategic investments as demand for more advanced memory surges. Remember, we're not seeing that curtail at all. Riding the AI chip boom, SK Hynix is stepping up hiring with new full-time production roles to meet rising demand and extend capacity. SK Hynix opened applications for maintenance and operator positions, focusing on equipment upkeep, line operation, quality testing, and defect inspection. The company set an April 22nd deadline and will run candidates through screening, testing, and interviews before final selection. Now, that was reported by Chosen Biz and reported earlier today. SK Hynix recently rebranded its hiring program to Monthly Highway, extending rolling recruitment beyond office roles to include full-time production jobs. The company aims to secure semiconductor talent more flexibly, with new hires expected to join facilities in Icheon, Yongin, and Chengdu, including upcoming capacity expansions. A January report flagged an AI-fueled memory crunch, with data center demand devouring supply and pushing prices higher. Chipmakers like SK Hynix and also Samsung, ticker SSNLF, and Micron, ticker MU, are cashing in as shortages are set to drag on through 2027. And indeed, they are going to drag on. And are they going to continue? Are we going to get more shortages? It's yet to be seen. This has been entirely unpredictable so far. Building on that trend, a separate April report showed Samsung Electronics turning the shortage into a profit windfall, projecting a massive surge in quarterly earnings as AI-driven demand for high bandwidth memory sends prices soaring. And that's what we've seen. It's been a great trade for all of us. I know the question for most people is, when does the music end? Well, folks, based on the news cycle, music doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. Maybe it will, but so far, doesn't look like that. We're going to have demand all through 2026. This is telling you that demand is going through 2027. I wouldn't be surprised if all of 2027 had that demand too. And look out, because if the next big thing for AI comes along and it's more than just agentic chatbots, there might be that demand actually could take another step higher. We'll see what that does for the stocks if that indeed is what's happening. Okay. I got two more really quick news stories here, and then we're going to go into chart time. Well, we're going to do ticker time, or excuse me, street tweets and then tickers. This next one here, another AI related story, but I have a bigger question for the group here. Does anyone still trade Snapchat? Let's start with that real quick. This was an extremely popular ticker to trade for a long time, and it would move well on prints and reports of monthly active users and all of that. I feel like this has kind of died out now, so I'm unsure how punchy some of these AI stories are going to be. Snapchat CEO Evan Spiegel says AI is, quote, probably the best thing for Snap. Warns that there's no mode in software, end quote there. Let me know if you guys agree with Evan. Okay. Snap, ticker SNAP, CEO Evan Spiegel on Sunday said that artificial intelligence is transforming the company, calling it the best thing that has ever happened to Snap. Again, do you guys agree with that? Do people see, Jonas? I have the same question as Jonas here. Sorry, I highlighted the wrong comment. I have the same question as Jonas here. Do people still use Snapchat? Like, I started by asking if any of you folks trade it, and I definitely want to know, but how many people actually still use Snapchat? Every time I see someone younger using an app on the phone, I'm always looking to see what the next hot app is. And the one that I keep recognizing is Instagram. It's not Snapchat, and that is definitely a change from the past. Snap was all the rage for the longest time. GP38 Super says it should change its name to Dead. Okay, so I'm not the only one that is kind of taken aback, if you will, by the Snapchat. Matthew says my kids still use it. Okay, and then GP says all my kids still use it. Okay, so it looks like the really younger crowd there. Okay, Chris says I do not trade Snap anymore. I'm not sure about their future. I don't use it nearly as much as I used to. Chris is not a kid, so it looks like that our demographic is still holding up there. Buffalo by Bicycle says I've never used Instagram or Snap. Yeah, we're not the target audience for this, it turns out. In an interview with David Senra, Spiegel described AI as, quote, probably the best thing that has ever happened to Snap, end quote, pointing to its ability to help the company move faster despite limited resources. Limited resources, I wonder why. Spiegel said Snap has spent years competing against much larger rivals, calling it, quote, like trench warfare with monopolies for 15 years, end quote. All right, simmer down a little bit, bud. That experience, he added, taught the company an early lesson. Quote, there's no moat in software, end quote. Really, it just seems like he's repeating one-liners, to be honest. And of course, that one means competitors can quickly replicate features. And indeed, that's the case. Well, AI is making it even easier to copy products. Spiegel said Snap has focused on building harder to replicate advantages. Seems reasonable. Quote, we've evolved our business to really focus on things that are hard to copy, end quote. He said, citing network-driven communication, creator ecosystems, and augmented reality platforms. And I'll be honest, at least from the surface there, none of that seems incredibly difficult or hard to replicate. But that's just me. He also emphasized the rapid internal impact of AI, noting, quote, AI is changing every single team at Snap. It's changing the way that everything gets done at Snap, end quote. Okay. And so you left out kind of some important details there. Spiegel added that while changes have already been significant in recent months, quote, 18 months from now, the way that Snap operates will be completely different, end quote. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to really get on board with Snap. I seem to share what a lot of the group shares here. Alphabet, however, ticker GOOG, CEO Sundar Pichai said the U.S. should lead global AI development, calling it the most profound technology yet, and urging responsible innovation to benefit society. He highlighted AI's expanding role across healthcare, education, and emergency response, while acknowledging challenges like job disruption and the need for regulation. Last month, Morgan Stanley analysts pushed back on fears that AI will replace software. I'm with Morgan Stanley on that. I don't think it's going to replace it. I think it's going to aid it. And I think that the people that will benefit the most from this are those that embrace AI and new ways of doing things. And in fact, if you want to take away from the recent meeting that we just had at work here, it absolutely seems like the case. Turns out that you and I are not the only ones that have increased productivity from AI and all of that. Anyway, I don't think software is going anywhere. I think our ability to use AI in conjunction with existing software is really going to determine what the next big thing is, if you will. Keith Weiss said that that view was a, quote, definitional error, end quote, arguing that AI enhances rather than replace software. Thank you, Keith. I'm not the only one screaming this now. Though generative AI is disrupting niches like stock photography, he estimated AI could add about 400 billion to enterprise software by 2028. Now, that will only be for the companies that are actually getting it done. Andre Karpathy said AI agents are rapidly transforming software development. That's the one thing that I can definitely say. Software development is changing, both here at Benzinga and just in general. I would say that if you have a kid that is into video games, I'm not even going to use the word addicted, but if you have a child or just a younger person that's into video games, see if you can get them to build something using AI. Because I've discovered, even in my just ridiculously limited knowledge of how to build and all of that, man, it is more addictive. But when you start building something using some of these AI agents, it is actually more addictive than video games in some way. So I would just say, as kind of an aside here, I know I'm ranting a little bit, I'm sorry, but I would just say as an aside here, if your kid shows a propensity to play video games, see if you can't get him to talk to Claude and make something. Maybe they make the next $100 million app. Who knows? Andre, that is, sorry about the rant there, noted that he had barely written code in months, with AI now handling most major programming tasks, signaling a major shift in how software is built. And indeed, that's from the pro side. From the amateur side, folks that have no coding experience can now create things that they envision. And I suspect that that's just going to push the path forward. It's going to make development faster, and we should get better and better opportunities there. Okay. Now, let's go to, I got one more story here real quick. Bill Ackman reacts. This is actually a cool story. Bill Ackman reacts as the GitLab co-founder Sid Sijbrandij, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correct, turns a rare cancer diagnosis into an AI-powered engineering problem using ChatGPT. Let's dive in here. GitLab, which again is ticker GTLB, co-founder Sid Sijbrandij has reframed his fight against a rare and aggressive cancer as an engineering challenge, leveraging artificial intelligence, genomic sequencing, and real-time scientific research to explore personalized treatment plans. In an OpenAI forum conversation posted last week, Sijbrandij joined geneticist Jacob Stern. And actually, if you guys want this, because there's some videos for this, let me throw the link to the story in here as well. Sijbrandij was diagnosed with stage 4 spinal cancer and was reportedly turned away from clinical trials, with his medical team running out of treatment options. During the conversation, he described how they use ChatGPT and advanced diagnostics to analyze tumor data and evaluate experimental therapies. The approach, he said, created a faster feedback loop between patients, doctors, and scientific literature. I will say, as someone that's kind of gone through this, that faster feedback loop can be extremely helpful for families, but that's just an aside. Quote, I quit my day job and started going founder mode on my cancer, and I went all out, end quote. And that was from Sid Brandage, describing how he systematically gathered and analyzed large-scale medical data to guide his decisions. Sid Brandage shifted from being a patient to building an AI-driven research approach, compiling roughly 25 million terabytes of personalized medical data, including genomic information, scans, and treatment history. The system identified a potential treatment that had been overlooked by his oncology team and helped inform the development of 19 personalized vaccine candidates based on his genetic data. He has reportedly remained in remission since 2025. Now, I don't know the guy, but anyone that gets cancer and goes into remission, that is worth a one-up for sure in my book. It is crazy to see. I have long said that AI's real impact will be in the health and medical industry, and we're getting a taste of that right here. He later made the full data set and methodology publicly available, aiming to support other patients facing similar conditions who have limited or no remaining treatment options. Investor Bill Ackman responded to the conversation, calling it incredible. And again, that link is going to be in there. This is a really cool story. I think that there's more really good stuff to come from AI and all of this, especially when it comes to cancers, rare diseases, things that really just kind of hamper people's life. It's great to it's great to see. It really is. It's great to see, and I definitely hope that at the end of the day, this is probably AI's biggest contribution to humanity. And with that, I'll get off my soapbox. All right, folks, let's go back to the chart. Let's see, what do we got time-wise? Oh, my gosh, we only got 13 minutes till 13 shows up. I did a good job on that. All right, let's see here. If anyone has Truth Social, please have it on Trump's feed till the blockade starts, please, and inform us on time. Zach, why don't you just go get it, or get Benzinga Pro, which pumps all of the Truth Social tweets into a newsfeed that you can filter. Yeah, I mean, you can, I feel like you can Google that. I'm sure Ryan can help us with the Trump tweet. Yes, in fact, I try to do that. Whenever I see the market reacting, I look for one of them. Sometimes it exists and we read that out. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's something else. And as Lion is suggesting here, producer can also help us. Producer does do work behind the scenes. I can confirm that that's the case. So good stuff. Okay. All you need is X. That's true. Buffalo by Vesco. You guys don't even need Truth Social. Just get X. They get reposted there in real time. There's no question. Okay. Can AI fix the insurance grift? Crispy Biscuit, that is a good question. That is a good question. I'm not too sure. That's going to take more fixing, I think, than well, maybe you know what? I don't even want to knock AI yet. Let's come back to that. Before we do that, though, let's do a street tweet. Your tweet here is from Unusual Whales, and I gotta say, this is met with a bunch of skepticism from me. I've heard these stories for the last 20 years of my life, not specific to AI, but about China doing this and that. We'll see. Quote, China is winning the AI talent race, end quote. And that is per The Economist. Now, I gotta think that the American AI companies are going to win this race, but this is why we focus on AI so much. This also is a reminder that it might not be one of the big stalwarts that we see really kind of outperform from the AI theme. I know we all look at NVIDIA and Meta and then other stocks like CoreWeave and all of that. But this talent race, this behind the scenes talent race, this is definitely not over, and this is going to appear. I think it's definitely important that China doesn't win this. I personally don't think they are going to win this. However, between now and then, whenever that may be, it is going to be important for us to realize that AI is going to be, or AI is already a huge global theme, and it does not, or it behooves us to pay attention to all of the developments coming out of all of these different countries. And we'll continue to follow the race for talent, the production of different tools and utilities, and all of that. But the Economist here says we are behind. Eric here saying China is elite in math and AI is math. And I totally agree, but I also agree with Empyrean's comment right above it. The Economist is a big time pro CCP promoter, and we've seen that too. We've seen that too. Don't shoot the messenger, folks. I'm just reporting what they say. But I do want to reiterate, it is important that we win this, and you will see more and more stuff about that, and you will hear more and more about that. All right. Let's go back to Benzinga Pro here. Let's see, what time is it? So we've got 9 minutes until 13 shows up. Let's take a look at some of these stocks. I want to start by some of the stocks that were reporting earnings here today. We're going to start with Goldman Sachs. Wow, Goldman Sachs down 4.5%. So before we went live here today, Goldman Sachs was down 3.8%. And I was thinking, if this holds here, maybe this actually bounces. It appears, at least so far in the pre-market, we took another leg lower here. Kind of a small leg, and it basically took us right back to the area that we were in from the beginning of April. That was Wednesday, April 1st through Tuesday, April 7th. So basically, just a handful of sessions here, basically about a week. We're right back down there. So I would say, just kind of looking at Goldman Sachs, probably want to hold this 855-ish area, currently at 867. This is what it looks like right now. This 867, we are actually gapped beneath the 50-day. Now, we are getting the 20-day coming up, possibly going to support this if Goldman Sachs pulls back anymore. But just like we talked about with the SPY and other tickers that we're looking at, where does the stock close here? Does this bounce at all from minus 4.5%? They'll have to let me know. And we'll see if we get another move down in some of these names if the broader market pulls back as well. Okay. That was Goldman Sachs. The other one, Snap. I was asking you folks earlier if you're still interested in Snap, whether you're interested in the product or more specifically, if you're interested in trading the stock. Has not been great. Here's what Snap looks like. 473 here in the pre-market. We're still above the 20. I mean, look, the more I look at this chart, the more I'm like, oh man, it looks rough. It looks rough here. Now, you might take the other end of it, say, well, this thing's really, really depressed. People still use it. You got evidence that some of the younger folks still use this on a regular basis. Maybe this is time for a bounce. My problem with this is that I feel like there are so many better things to trade here. Even when they start throwing news out here about AI and how it's going to help and this, that, and the other thing, let me see it. I'm not going to believe it until I see it. Now, looking at the chart here, what I believe is that we've got a weak chart. Now, if this chart could turn around and start to be more constructive, that's one thing. But we have not seen that yet. Great. It looks like we've bottomed here. What was our low print here? Okay, it looks like we bottomed around, 390-ish? Okay, we recaptured the 20-day moving average. We're holding here. We're basically testing 5. Let's see if we can get back above this 50-day moving average. Even the last time that this stock was trading sideways, we had some of these moving averages continue to come in a little bit. And even in the face of some pops, they were all very short-lived. The stock continued to roll over and take another leg lower. So until something changes here, I don't feel great about this. Snap down 1.8% here in the pre-market. To me, this all comes down to whether or not this thing can close above the 50. And even then, not my favorite. Lion. Snap is like Beyond Meat. There's no meat there. Snap is like Beyond, just no meat there. That's clever. I like what you did there. And I'll be honest with you, I would tend to agree. I would tend to agree. I don't think there's much meat left on this bone. No pun intended. I don't think there's any for Beyond Meat. By the way, didn't we have some $30 Beyond Meat? Some folks in the chat calling Beyond Meat to go to 30. Where's that at now? 60 cents. That is. So okay. So we didn't get that super spike there in Beyond Meat. I'm with you on this, Lion. To me, I don't really like it. Look, I'm if there are things for us to trade, if there are targets for us, I want to hear about them, even if I don't like them. But Snap, I just can't do it. I can't do it. Zach saying Ondas getting a new order. Okay, that was not the case prior to going live here. Ondas down 1.32% in the pre-market. Let's take a look. Okay, so it looks like it did pop on a little bit of volume. Let's take a look and see what's going on here, Zach. Ondas receives a $68 million order to deliver heavy engineering vehicles. That doesn't look like a drone to me. Initial order marks first phase of a multi-year $140 million program with significant additional revenue expected from long-term maintenance and expansion options. Indo Earth Moving, heavy ground equipment designed to be integrated with autonomous AI capabilities. Okay, interesting. So, you know what, Zach, this is good. You're giving me some homework here. I'll go through this when I have a little bit more time. But again, if I hate to keep doing this, but I feel like if I bring the CEO on for an interview and the CEO tells us something, it makes sense to benchmark what happens versus what the CEO told us. And what he told us is that he's interested in not just building a drone company, but building a technology stack. It looks like now we're starting to expand here into earth-moving equipment. And as the PR says here, designed to work with autonomous and AI capabilities. Okay, so maybe some of this is going to be done autonomously. Milestone where we begin execution of a large-scale strategic program to expand our role as a prime contractor delivering mission-critical ground systems into active defense programs. Okay, so to me, with the acquisition of Indo, we've added a proven, healthy ground equipment engineering platform, and now we're positioned to deliver these systems at scale while integrating advanced technologies across our broader autonomous systems portfolio. So this is great. They're trying to do everything here from, some of the initial groundwork needed to incorporate or use these autonomous systems. They're trying to do all of that here autonomously, which I think should do really well for like their overhead costs and all of that. I mean, this sounds good, right? This sounds good. Right on the surface here. I like that it's being billed as $68 million under a larger initiative. That'll give us some things to track to see if this is expanding at all. And I do love that this is a little bit different. This also kind of lends some credence to what Eric talked about as far as his longer term vision. Look, I can't tell you if Ondas is going to trade up here today, but long term, I still like it. I like what they're doing. I like the turnaround. I like that they're folding more things in here. And this is just another example of that. So giddy up. I would say that this is probably just down with the broader market. We'll see if we get better trading here for Ondas. I know a lot of the times we get these PRs, the stock pops, and then it really gets whacked right at the open. Maybe it'll be a little bit different today. It's the biggest order yet. Wasn't there a 70 million drone order? Zach, you might be right on that. It is one of the bigger ones. It is definitely one of the bigger ones, but I could have sworn. Let me go back through that, Zach, and confirm that. I don't want to say that unless you're 100%. I don't want to say that for sure without having the stats in front of me on that. But nonetheless, good. Seems good. Let's take a look and see where the daily chart is. I know this thing's kind of been whacked recently. And look, I'm definitely still in this. I'm definitely still bullish on this. No other way to spin this. The move down and the break of the low, and then a move back up and a rejection by the 50, not ideal. If we want to see this stock go higher, we want to see some of these get recaptured here. Now, maybe it bounces again off this 827-ish. We're at $9 here. Maybe it actually rechallenges the $8 low and turns around. But boy, I'd love to see it get above the 20, the 50, and then inevitably this trend line here. See if we can start making another move higher. So I think it's going to need the broader market to cooperate. in order to do this, but it's good to see that more orders are still coming in here. ONDS. Okay. Great to see some more folks filing in here. Jane, it's great to see you. Welcome back. Anyone else that I might have missed, welcome back. Good to see you. Obviously, Chris, it's great to see you. All right, let's take a look at Hood. Looks like Hood being suggested by Buffalo by Bicycle, Battle being suggested by Mark, and Palantir being suggested by Lion. You know what? We're going to have to ask 13 how he thinks of all of those because he just showed up. Good morning, Captain Cloudy. Good morning, Market Sniper. And as I said, good morning, anyone else that I may have missed. Lion, let me go ahead and add Palantir here to my list. I will make sure that we take a look at that. However, we are going to start our pre-market pulse, and we are my fault. That was I just clicked the wrong thing. I had like my finger hovering over the button, and I slightly touched it, and I was like, I've made a mess of this. So I'm going to stop making a mess of it and bring on 13 to clean it up. Good morning. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Not looking forward to cleaning, but I'm doing pretty good.
I was gonna say, look, I'm sorry to bring you on. I will say you're looking awfully sharp.
Oh yeah, it's Black Shirt Day.
Hey, Black Shirt Day. I gotta say, black shirts are awfully sharp. Good stuff, 13. Look, how was your weekend? How was your time off?
Oh, well, I didn't take a whole lot of time off. I just didn't come on this show. Still had a regular week.
That's what I meant, dude. I mean,
still had a regular week. Still had a regular week, but just much quieter. Talked to a lot of folks in chat a little bit sooner than I usually do. Weekend was fantastic. Got a lot of rest. Ready to come back and do this.
Okay. All right, good stuff. Good morning, Anne Marie. It's great to see you. Yakub, good morning. Izzy, good morning. Samab, good morning. Anne Marie saying, wait, why don't I have one of those? Anne Marie, this is the first I've heard that you've wanted one of those, but let me get to work. Let me see what I can do for you. Let me see if I can't get you one of those. Look, these polos are sweet. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. All right, 13. Do you mind if we shake this up just a tad here? Because there were a couple of charts that folks wanted to take a look at. I'd like to really quickly take a look at those. We can start here with the Palantir chart, but I just don't want to forget or run out of time. I think we should have enough time to do all of this, but if you wouldn't mind, let's start with a couple of these charts, then we'll roll through the movers, and then we can wrap up with more ticker time as we head into the open. Does that work for you?
Sure.
Okay, great. So moving on from Ondas to Palantir, let's go ahead and see what Lion's thoughts on Palantir was here. Palantir has strong support around 125. So looking at that is where I've marked off on the chart. Indeed, that is the case. By the way, this 125 is support that was previous resistance, which is one of the reasons it's strong. If we lost 125, we will go to 120 as the next support. And if we lose 120, then we go to 85. So let's storyboard that out here. 120 is not that far down from where we're at. In fact, it is basically the bottom end of the consolidation range that is giving the 125 area as a support area. So I could totally see this, but the bigger drop, I think, and let me know if you agree, the bigger drop here is if we can't hold this, we might go down to 85. Now, what's interesting about this, Lion, is that by the time we make this move, by the time we make this move, that is for sure going to take us above or below the 500. And that, to me, actually looks kind of nasty. I would almost say 80 to 85 is probably your next area in there as support. I don't know if it's going to do that. I'm going to say no. I'm going to stay on the side that says I don't think this prints 80s here in 2026. We'll see if I end up being right or wrong about that. Good morning, Jay. 13, what do you think here on Palantir?
Nothing's changed for me. And now it's funny that we're hearing all this because this is the exact thing I was saying that Palantir was going to do when this year started back in January, probably was even December when I said this. We're going down to $90. It'll probably find support around 120, 125. I pointed out the February 2025 highs as the support area. That's going to give you your 120, 125 support. We lose that. That's taking us to 90. I think 90, 85, sure. 80, possibly as well. 90 is my target.
Okay.
That's I've been saying this is the way, this is how it's going to go for months. We've had a head and shoulders pattern that developed on the weekly and monthly chart. That was my indicator as to where I think we're going. I just did a simple measurement of that. Takes us to $90 if we get a full resolution of this pattern. So that's where I think it's going, $90. I agree.
Okay. There you go. You got the 13 blessing on that line. Are either of you folks positioned to the short side, or is this more kind of wait out and figure out the entry?
This would probably be something better to wait for an entry. I don't know what how it's going to look getting down there.
Got it.
We could see this climb back up towards like 142, where there's some resistance before we start to get that downturn that takes us, underneath 120. But we had a pretty good reversal candle yesterday. So I'm sorry, on Friday. So I think there could be at least an attempt to try and climb up from here, but I don't think we're going to go very high up.
Got it. Okay. Really good stuff there. Palantir. There were a couple of others here real quick. Palantir Hood was the other one. Let's start with that, and then we can do BATL. We can actually use that to transition into some of the movers. Here's Hood. Let me get the context here. Buffalo by Bicycle said, I'm in Hood at 65. I'd like to add if it dips there. So now my only follow-up question, are you in from 65 from the recent move down to the 500, or are you still in at 65 from this big move higher? Let me know what the entry was for that. I can't remember myself. Looking at this, I'll be honest with you. I know it's kind of traded sideways here. I know the recent break of this sideways formation was kind of caught by the 500, but the inability to break the 50, I think we at minimum get one more test of the 500 here. I personally wouldn't be shocked if we actually peak beneath this. But I suspect that, I know this is not like a huge move, so this is not going to be all that great for new trading ideas. Rejection here at the 50, I wouldn't be surprised if we retest 63 to 64 as a support area here. We're still beneath the $72 area, which has been very, very key for the stock. So we were rejected at the 50. We re-lost 72. I don't think this has bottomed yet. What say you, 13?
It looks to me like 80 is a big level of resistance, and we haven't really been able to recapture that since we lost that level back in February. You also have the 50-day SMA that is providing resistance. We haven't really had too many interactions with that since actually December last year, and the only time that we did touch it was last week, and it was that was the only time we haven't hit it since. So that's going to be a big resistance area. It looks like it is trying to form a bottom, so it can try and turn up and retake some of those levels. But as I get to a monthly chart, I see the thing that I think we need to see out of this stock. We need to see this recapture its 20-month SMA. We lost that last month in March, haven't recaptured it since. I think that's the moving average to watch. I guess there's an angle here when it comes to the Trump accounts that are supposed to happen later this year. I think this is one of the companies that's facilitating those. I might be wrong about that, but that's my understanding. If it is, then there's, that could be good for the company, but I don't know enough about it to really give a good opinion on that. I'm just looking at this monthly chart and thinking that 20-month SMA needs to be recaptured, or we're going to lose support at 67.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense to me. Shout out to you on the monthly chart here. Joe Marsh says, indeed, they are. I was just Googling it here real quick, 13. Indeed, Robinhood is participating in the Trump Accounts Initiative as the brokerage and initial trustee.
Okay.
As well. So, okay, good stuff there.
And I don't know how great that's going to be for the stock. It seems like it's going to be pretty good. So certainly a future catalyst, but I think on a technical side, the monthly chart's telling you that we haven't completely turned around yet. We've seen some encouraging signs of potential bottoming here, but we need to see that turnaround.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff. The last one here that was asked about 13 is going to be Battle. This is Battalion Oil. Obviously, this one has been a crazy mover from the Iran conflict and all of that. Looks like it's really kind of simmered down here. Marty, I didn't have any other context for you on Battalion. I know that this is higher here with the cost of oil prices, but again, going back to the daily chart here, looks like we had a meteoric move higher, met by a complete retracement of that meteoric move, and now we're just trading sideways, which is what we were doing prior to this. We're still above the 200 here. This to me looks sideways. I don't have really any read off of this. I understand it's up 26% here today. So maybe if this, but again, I think that's just with oil. We're basically right into another sideways area that we were trading here. 13, you got anything here on BATL?
I think like this one and Turb and a lot of the other really low float oil names that have been moving with this, Iran war and conflict in the Middle East. I think this is going to be one of those names that just reacts to that volatility. So with this being up today, we could see this continue to climb higher in the regular session. I would think 6 is possible. If we do get up there, we could even, I don't think that's going to happen. I think 6 is possible. It just, I would mark that off. It looks like on the daily chart, we are trying to put a bottom in and turn around, but I think, just keep in mind, this is going to react to the volatility of what's going on in the Middle East. So we could be up one day, down the next. I don't think that we're climbing back up to some of these $20 levels anytime soon, unless, you get some really wild, news out of the conflict. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that 6 is probably a good spot to look at. And then if it goes beyond that, then 8.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, good game plan nonetheless. I think you hit it right on the head. This is going to move with the headlines out of the conflict. That's kind of what we're seeing here already this morning. So, okay, really good stuff, 13. Let's go ahead and hit those movers. But before we do, speaking of oil, really good segue here. We did have a poll earlier. The poll question was, what's next for Brent crude? 41% of you said it's going to hold above 100. 39% of you says it's going to break the previous highs. 18% of you said it's going to pull back to the 80-90 levels, and 2% of you said it's going to drop to the pre-war levels. Now, really quickly, just as kind of an aside there, we didn't have any time frame on this. We asked what's next. So I think what we're asking there, the way I read it, is what's going to happen here in the near term. I don't think we're going back to pre-war levels in the near term. I think you can throw that one out personally. Pull back to the 80 or 90 is going to be extremely headline dependent, but that range seems to be good. I could easily see that happening. And I don't think we're going to break previous highs. That might be my own bias, so maybe take that with a grain of salt there. And holding 100, that seems to be one of the round numbers. I think that's we could easily do that here for the near term. 13, do you have anything you want to share on that? I know that poll probably went out before you got on here today.
Oh, it'll probably stay around 100 for now until we start to see some real progress made in any talks, and I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I think the real thing to keep an eye on is what's happening between the talks in Israel and Lebanon.
Yeah,
I think that's the one to focus on in the near term, and we may get a lot of attention getting pulled away from that because this is earnings week now, or earnings season. And Goldman Sachs just started earnings season, so we're going to have a lot of banks reporting this week. So there could be a lot of volatility just on what they say, not so much as what happens in the Middle East, even though that's going to add its own little angle of flavor.
Yeah, no question. All right, well said there. And then really quick here, we'll definitely highlight this. First of all, thank you, Retro, for the kind words. Great to see you again. Tiny Pie, our resident Irish person. Or Irish viewer, I should say. Sorry, not Irish person. Back-to-back Masters. That's all. And thank you for your attention to this matter. Well, you're more than welcome. Hopefully you enjoyed that Masters. If you do get Rory's autograph, get 2 so that you can send me one. Just throwing that out there. Okay. You want to do, let's do the movers here real quick.
Sure.
And then we can take more questions from the chat. 3D, good to see you. Looks like you want to take a look at Marvell. Let me go ahead and add that. I'll tell you what, we talked about Marvell the last time that thing popped. Actually traded that, I think 118 to 120-ish. that thing even higher now. Shout out to Lion on that one. I think Lion was one of those that was talking about holding that for a long time. I may have missed several of you with that. It's not intentional. It is what it is. Okay, so Goldman Sachs, by the way, this is trading up. This is down 4.5%. We're only down 3.3%. Let me know really quickly if anyone's trading this to the upside for a potential bounce. I would be very interested if that's what you're doing. All right.
One of the movers that I looked at is starting to get going here. If you want to take a look at that one, it's RACT.
RCT, right? Red Cloud? Or
well, that's another one.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Call the ball here, 13. What do you got in RECT?
Well, this one seems to be trading into a symmetrical triangle right now. It had news that it received a 10 million in Singapore dollars rental sales order. It's causing it to trade up here this morning. The company's already profitable, so I'm not really worried about them needing to raise cash, but it is from Singapore, so you just kind of never know. It looks to me like they have resistance around 230 to 250 with support coming in at 190. So far, that 65 EMA in the 5-minute chart has been providing support ever since our first impulse move. So that's certainly a level to watch for. But it looks like we're trying to trade up and break out of the symmetrical triangle right now. So I would be keeping an eye on a move through the 210, 215 area coming up here. We should be breaking through this triangle pretty soon, I would think.
Okay, really quickly here. The surge in demand regarding this contract that you were just speaking about, the surge in demand is supported by a robust construction pipeline, favorable pro-green energy policies, and rising global oil prices driven by recent geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. The key takeaway that I have there is if this thing is also going to be affected by headlines, the PR is telling you that. The PR is telling you that right here. So in not so many words, it's kind of giving you a playbook there. Now, how does this thing trade here today? We'll see. It's only $1.98, $2 here. Actually, it looks like it's trying to go higher. 13. I see a trend line here that really kind of jumps out. I'm assuming you saw the same.
Well, then you'll put one on the underside, and then you have your symmetrical triangle.
And beautiful. Also, Kathy here saying RECT is restricted on Schwab. Thank you, Kathy, for letting us know.
Singapore company, probably going to be that way for some folks.
Yep. Nope. You're absolutely right. You did a really good job covering that too. Here is the triangle that we're looking at. Quick peek at the short interest on this name. It's negligible, 0.13%, 1 day to cover. On average, the stock trades 4,000 shares, guys. 4.6 thousand shares is its average. It's done 22 million here today. So just if you're going to trade this one, be sure you're done with it and wrapped up. 3.4 million shares in the float. Anything else on this 13, or should I keep rolling here?
Just that 190 support. You have VWAP, and that's 65 VMA has other areas of support as well. But beyond that, I think we lose those. It's probably going to be going lower. But I think we're going to get a breakout of the symmetrical triangle soon.
Okay, awesome. Next here is going to be RCT. So if it's not confusing enough, here you go. RCT. This is Red Cloud Holdings. Shares are trading higher after the company announced it signed a $30 million 5-year licensing deal to deploy its Raid engine in Saudi Arabia. This had an initial impulse move up to 135, came back, tested the VWAP. Looks like it's trying to bounce. We've actually seen this with some of the movers recently with its attempt to do that. Those have actually provided some pretty decent trades here. Looking at the short interest, again, negligible. Less than 1% of the float shorted. Sure, it's got 2.15 days to cover, but that's because on average, the stock doesn't even trade 200,000 shares. It's traded 51 million here today versus a float of 19.2 million. All right. What do you think on this one, 13?
A little concerned about the offering they filed last month for 3.6 million shares. So they're probably going to have to do some kind of they're looking at raise capital. It appears. I looked at their financials, and I didn't really have a great picture of them. Doesn't look like they got a whole lot of cash. Couldn't really get a good read on their quarterly income. I think they report 2 times a year. And when you look at that, they lose, millions of dollars every quarter. So it seems to me like they're going to have to raise some capital here. So if you are going to trade this one, be careful. Looks like to me the 200-day SMA on the daily chart is going to be your resistance area. So you have a little bit of room to the upside, and your VWAP is going to be support.
Okay.
By the way, that Red Cloud Raid engine, that stands for real-time AI for distribution. It's an intelligence-driven infrastructure designed to modernize the fast-moving consumer goods industry, particularly the emerging markets.
Okay. RCT also restricted on Schwab. Thank you, Kathy. I've got the fair value gap area highlighted here in purple. It looks like it's bouncing off near the top of that, but this gap to me still unmitigated. So we'll see if we get a move from that area. Next here is going to be Allo, and this is the one that Tara was asking about. This is Allogene Therapeutics, ticker ALLO. Allogene Therapeutics shares are trading higher after the company announced data from its planned interim futility analysis of its pivotal randomized phase 2 alpha-3 trial in first-line consolidation large B-cell lymphoma. That was a mouthful, but getting good data out of that. Stock is up 60%. Actually looks like it's kind of regressed a little bit back to the VWAP here. It actually looks like we're trading beneath it, but we're very, very close to that VWAP there. Quick peek at the short interest on this. Yowza, 15.59% of the float shorted with 4.81 days to cover. 13, I know that doesn't quite meet our high criteria, but I definitely think it's notable here today on both counts. Float on this one, 205 million. So definitely thicker than some of these others that we've traded here. Yep. On average, it only trades about 6 million shares, done 23.5 million here prior to the open. Probably going to do 24 by the time we open. 13, you have any thoughts here on Allo, the news, the chart, or otherwise?
News seems good. It's phase 2, and I don't think this is the final data from phase 2. I think this is just some of the data. So I think phase 2 for them is still ongoing. Either way, company doesn't have revenue. It's a biotech. It's just going to continue to burn cash. But they do have a lot of cash, and it looks like they have a lot in short-term investment as well. So that's also able to be converted to cash. I don't think that they're going to need to raise capital soon, though. Keep in mind that they don't have revenue, and they will have to raise capital at some point in the future. I just don't think that's going to be soon. The float is the scarier thing. That's going to make it a little bit difficult to push higher. So we already are kind of leaking here from $5, trying to get some support from the 65 EMA and the VWAP. We might go sideways as we approach the open. I don't know that we're going to hold up here before the open. Okay, now we just dropped. So there we go. So now we just drop beneath the 65 EMA. The next area of support might be down around 4. But this one doesn't look that great to me right now. It might provide a better trade after we open and we stop the selling. But to me, this looks like this is going to come back down some more. So you also have the 200 EMA on the 5-minute where it could find some support. But for now, I think just until we open, let's just keep this on our radar. But it's not looking great at the moment.
Okay. Good stuff here. Zach saying Allo SSR short stale restriction for the time being, as per my Trade Desk app. Okay, let's see what we get here in Allo. This is coming back in a little bit. Let me see what I got here for Allo. No, I do have a gap here, but it's small. It's not notable. It's not notable. Okay. Next here let me ask you, 13. I know we don't have any criteria specifically for this, but can this be considered an ex-girlfriend yet, or does it need to?
Oh yeah, we were dating last week.
Okay, well, that was quick.
Oh,
all right,
yeah.
glad I asked here. Okay, really quick. Next one here is going to be SkyQ. SKYQ. This is, of course, Sky Quarry. As 13 mentioned, we were dating this stock last week. Here it is, up another 56.7%. So I believe if you guys were keeping score at home, I did say that this SkyQ one you probably want to be done with. Thank you, stock, for making me look like a complete doofus. That's just how it goes.
That wasn't a bad call. I mean, this thing is wild, and you just want to be in and out, say thank you for the trade, and don't look back or look for the next setup, but don't get married to this thing.
Yeah, it actually just here to me, looking at the trading action, actually looks like we're using $20 as resistance, despite several of the peaks above. Anne-Marie, just to borrow your sayings because they're amazing. Got no fresh news on this, so nothing new is happening here. It looks to be some just continued trading action here. Real quick, a look at the short interest, 4.1% of the float shorted 1 day to cover versus an average volume of 6.2 million shares, done 7.8 here today, floats 3.5. What do you think on SkyQ? Do I have a trend line in here that I should be drawing?
So look at a monthly chart. because it's really hard to kind of figure where your next resistance is going to be. You could do trend lines. I think that's going to be good as well. But I think the monthly chart might have probably the best area of or indication of where the resistance is, and once we get past that, where we could go. So you see how those first two candles. Wow, it looks vastly different. So the first candle I have from October 31st was from 43.92, and we sold off all the way down to underneath 20. That's just on my broker, though. That might be
yeah. So that I think that was going to be in some of the extended sessions, isn't it? Probably.
It might be.
Yeah, it probably is.
But either way, like, it really shows that this current area that we're in is at the top end of this the second day, which is, I'm sorry, the second month, which is the monthly candle I'm looking at here. And that high was, let's see here, was 911. We're just above that for the moment. So I think we're in a really interesting area of support and resistance. So let's see if we can, hold above 19. I don't know that we will. Let me go back to a 5-minute chart. So we did kind of go up into that area where, on my monthly chart, where we were finding resistance, but it looks like it could still climb higher. So if we continue to get support from VWAP, it looks like we could be gearing up for another move higher out of the open.
Okay, we'll see if we end up getting that. All right.
Yeah. It's a total we'll see moment. I'm not touching this quite yet. I want to see what we get out of the open.
Gotcha. All of that's helpful, though. Really appreciate it. Okay, 13, I'm going to actually turn this over to you here in a sec. I know we're running out of time, but I want to answer this question here really quick. Yakub Jaka saying, Ryan, how do I get this mover set up? Well, I got really good news for you. Instead of me giving you directions on how to do this, I'm going to make it super easy for you. You click the plus button at the top of Pro, and then from the recommended workspaces bucket, you select what's moving. You might have to scroll down a little bit to see it, but what's moving in here launches the exact same workspace that I was just using, and will allow you to adjust some of those. So really good question. Okay, 13, let me go back to my movers chart here. Is there any one of these that you want to really quickly talk about? RVMD, BFRG?
Whatever. I mean, you can put whatever you want on there. I'm just waiting for this RACT move through the triangle happen.
Okay, so
lots of back and forth in this one.
All good. We already did BATL, which is on here. I'm going to put up BFRG because someone was asking about this. I can't remember. 13, I'm going to step away for just one sec, but I'll be right back. All right, boss?
Sounds good. Let's take a look at BFRG and see what we got going on here. Okay, so this one, we had some fun earlier this month. Now we are, okay, so this one, we were above the 200-day SMA for a little while, kind of went sideways and lost it. Now we're recapturing it again, but we're coming up to the same resistance area we were dealing with all last week. So can we hold above this? Let me look at a smaller time frame here. Bear with me. So if we do go higher, it looks like we're going to run into some resistance around 135. And above that, you have 150. That would be the next two upside resistance areas I would see in BFRG. I'm just looking at the 5-minute chart, kind of backing out to see all the price actions that's been going on since we had that big move on March 30th that took us over the 200-day SMA. So that's going to give us all the levels I think that we're going to want to use for trading this today, if you're trading this. So that gives us like the 135, that 150 area for support. Looks like, gosh, since we're barely above $1, it's looking like $1 is going to have to be that support. There's a lot of sideways consolidation in that area, so you could get support from $1, but man, this thing's going to be a different animal if we lose that $1 support. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at here with BFRG. $1 support, resistance at 135 to 150.
Beautiful job. Thank you, as always, 13. Okay, let's see. We've got less than a minute. I'm going to flip over to the main workspace. Yakub, by the way, this main workspace is also a preset called day trading. So you could do the exact same thing here. Okay. The casino is about to be open, folks. ALLO looking not good. That's pulling back here.
Yeah, I'm waiting for this move in RECT to see if we actually get the breakout or the breakdown. MACD is looking like it wants to roll over, but we haven't had any crossing yet. So we'll see what happens out of the open.
The RCTs, that bounced right up to its resistance area and stopped there. We'll see if we have the strength to get through that.
ALLO, this one coming in. So that was kind of expected.
Yes, it was.
All right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's have a good day.
All right. Nice countdown. All right, folks, we are open. Market pushing higher out of the open right away.
Be careful with that.
Yeah, we'll see how short-lived that is. Just to be clear, I'm not taking any trades on that. I'm just kind of observing that. Sorry for not being clear about that. Thank God it's Monday, says Market. Okay. And Yakub, we're happy to have you.
I don't think I've ever heard that before. Thank God it's Monday.
Only traders say that. Only traders say, "Thank God it's Monday." That's something I've noticed for sure.
All right, so we're leaning on that VWAP and RECT as support, but it's fallen out of the triangle here, so it looks like it's going to be a breakdown initially.
170 is where I had the fair value gap, the top end of it. So I think this could pull a little bit more. Although right now it actually looks like it's bouncing off the VWAP, doesn't it?
Oh, you're talking about AL. Oh, you're talking.
No. Sorry, I had the wrong stock on the screen here. My apologies.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the MACD is telling you that this might roll over, but it's just getting some support from VWAP here. So if we can get a little bit more volume, we'll take out this the trend line that you drew on the top end. Big resistance around, or big seller in the way at 205.
Okay.
All right. Oh wow, ALO really got hammered down to the 65 EMA. Getting support from that right now, though. Looks like Sky Quarry is currently getting support from VWAP, trying to turn around and go higher.
Looks like Goldman Sachs pulled a little bit off the open. Is anyone trading Goldman Sachs here for a short-term trade? Lion, I know you said this might bounce, right? I don't want to get that wrong. Let me know what you think here on Goldman Sachs. Part of me is interested in this for a trade here. I would do this via the stock, not the options.
Ryan?
Yeah.
Look at GEV.
Look at GEV. Some green shoots in the account. Let's go back above 1,000. All right. So 13 decision point here. Do we think that this I mean, I know we've been in this since the 700s. We even talked about this when it was in the 600s. Now we're up almost 40+% from this. What's the move with this? Is this a decent long term? We still have some legs. Do we take gains?
Ryan, I am all out of this now. As of hitting $1,000, this triggered my rule. It's gone up way too fast in a short period of time. So if I can't get my long-term goal out of it, then it's got to be my short-term goal. I'm out of this now. This was way too fast. Almost a double in since I picked it up in November.
Yep.
So I am out of this as of $1,000.
You know what that means?
The register. Yep.
We're going to ring the register. 13. I think instead of trying to get cute here, I know we pushed up to 107. I am going to also. All right.
And you know what?
Liquidated double register ring to start today. 13. I'm gonna. This is rarely the case, but I'll tell you what. The only reason I made money on this stock was because you and I discussed this regularly on Happy Hour, folks. 13 never told me to buy this, but we discussed the reason for looking at this stock over and over again. I opted to take it myself. Now I'm closing it out with you, 13. Cannot thank you enough for the trade. Appreciate you.
You got it. Now, I wanted to hold on to this for a lot longer, but it didn't work out that way. So I'm just taking it off the table, and this might go.
It's down 4 points from the exit.
and this could go, much higher into the $1,000 handle. But I'm not going to be around for that, so it's fine. But because I still like this company, but that my whole trade plan's over, unfortunately. So if this comes back in significantly, I'll be taking a look at it, because I still have its counterpart, the Siemens company. So that's another one to play. But this was the end of my trade plan for GEV.
Okay. Well, a really good trade plan. Nonetheless, 13. Congrats. Good stuff. By the way, while we were talking about that, RMSG, this did pop higher. This is Real Messenger popped higher into an upside halt. Let me run through some of the other stocks that we were looking at. RCT holding the VWAP here. Remember, we did have a fair value gap right beneath this. So we'll see what happens with RCT. What else you got, 13?
Yeah, RACT, this one went underneath the VWAP, recaptured it. It still looks like it's going to try and roll over. It's still trying to break through that top trend line. 2 attempts now, no closes above it. Looking a little weaker than stronger at this stage. Just can't seem to get above that 205 seller just at the moment. But, wait and see what happens. It's still holding VWAP.
All right, real quick here. Lion saying GS doesn't look good. Indeed. And Lion, I'll be honest with you. One of the reasons I was asking for that is because we had this little trade up into the open. That's being met with selling pressure now. VWAP here at 876-ish, 875. 94, but 876. If we can get above this, what's it going to take for Goldman Sachs to be a long for you? Does it actually have to retest the pre-market low? Can it recapture the VWAP? What do you think here on Goldman Sachs? To me, it looks like maybe we're going to have a little bit more selling pressure. Maybe this kind of dissipates by 10:30 or so. We'll see. Jay says Ryan has to grow a 13 beard now. I can't do that, guys. It's way too itchy for me. Shout out to 13 for doing all of that. And then 13, we never got around to looking at Marvell for 3D here. Maybe we could go ahead and do that. Marvell did pull off the open, gave a pretty decent bounce here. 132. We'll see if we can recapture 133 here. I also did see some calls get bought from this. So it looked like there was call buying alongside this move higher.
It looks like RACT is trying to hit that 205 seller. Not through yet, but it's come back up off of VWAP, so it's chipping at him. Sorry to keep going back to that. It seems like this is one of the better movers this morning. Anyway, MRVL. Let me look at the daily chart here. Jeez. Draw a trend line from the daily chart. You have the high from 2021 through the high of 2025. I think that's your target. Let me look at a longer time frame.
I got you. This is as clear as day. 3D, let me know what your trade plan is on this. I can't remember when you actually entered that. I'm eyeballing the trend line here, so forgive me. I have a target up here about 140. 140 to 141, probably your new target, Marvell.
Yeah, it seems like that's about where it is. And when you go on to some of these longer time frames like the weekly, let me see if the monthly has it too. Almost the monthly. So with the weekly, you're in overbought territory. The monthly, very, very close. So getting up to 140 and change looks like it could take you into overbought territory. So I would think that about the 140s is where you're going to start to see a lot of selling begin to occur. That would be my guess here with MRVL.
Okay. MRVL, this has been a big winner recently. I wouldn't even blame you if you sold it into this up move personally, but judging by the chart there, maybe we have 140 as a potential target. Also worth mentioning MBIS. I don't know who's still in this one. We talked about this when this was really selling off, defending $100. It is 148 now. MBIS actually looking to take out Friday's highs here at just about 150. So another good move here. MBIS up 2.3%.
And there's some good movement here with RACT. It's above the trend line now, trying to take out some of the pre-market highs. The highest one is going to be 229. We're hitting a high right now of 214. So looking much better, getting support from VWAP.
Here's your trend line that we broke. Now it looks like we're almost back testing it.
Yeah, there's just a lot of sellers up here. So, I mean, it's great that we got the movement out of this, but just be careful with this one too. Be careful with all these movers. Let's see here. So Sky Quarry down to a 65 EMA. Maybe this turns around here. Some folks bringing up Nokia. This making, I think, new 52-week highs. Is that what it is? Yes. Actually, we're looking at new 6-year high or 5-year highs, I believe. With the last high, last time we were at this price was in January of 2021, and then we'll be at gosh, what, 15-year highs after that. So Nokia, I mean, this is one of the ones that's part of the whole NVIDIA 6G partnership or alliance. Them, Dell, Ericsson, a lot of them. there was another one that was also looking pretty good. I was thinking about when we were talking about some of these other ones. Let me see if I can remember what that was.
Market pulled back a little bit from that opening move. It actually looks like it's trying to go higher here, but I think it may be too early to draw an inference from that. I'm going to keep looking around while you're looking at that 13. Now it actually looks like this is pushing higher here. Jay Wild mentioning that Axie AIXI, that was the big mover from last week off the Apple infringement case. That's moving here on some pretty decent volume, although still below the lows from yesterday. Last week, excuse me. Oil continues to come in a little bit. The VIX came in a little bit. Bitcoin coming in a little bit as well.
It starts with an N. I just can't remember.
What are you trying to do?
Oh, it's just a ticker that I was thinking of that wanted to bring up, but I can't remember what it was. Anyway, there's just a lot to talk about that's been going on. I mean, one of the ones I've been starting to position in next is Fluor.
FLR. That's an infrastructure play that we've talked about a few times.
Yeah, and the real interesting thing about this one to me is that, so how we've been talking about how there's no new refineries that are being built in the United States? Well, guess what? There will be now, because Fluor is going to design and engineer the front end for it in a new Texas facility in Brownsville, about 17 miles from SpaceX. So there hasn't been an announcement of how big this contract is, but they said they're going to announce it's going to show up in their Q1 earnings, which is going to be next month. So I'm kind of interested to see what that is. They've also entered into a contract with X Energy for a nuclear energy product at Dow's UCC Seadrift operations in South Texas. So 2 South Texas projects that they're going to be working on. There's been no disclosure as to the amounts of the contract, but just to give you an idea of how big this could be, that refinery is being funded by America First Refining. It's a $300 billion project, so they could be getting a good amount of money from that project. Okay. I think this is going to be a good one. It's going to be more of a longer term thing for me. But since the whole plan with GEV already worked out, started
use those profits, roll them into something new. I love that. I love that. Haven't followed you into this one yet, but
and I'm going slow. So
yeah, and since we're working off GEV profits, I feel like I've got some time. We'll see if we end up doing that. Good stuff there. And thanks for sharing the thesis. I'm sure we'll continue to do that here. All right, do we have anything else moving around here? It looks like that.
Yeah. What do you got? RCT is halted to the upside. We finally got a break above the highs. That's halted to the upside now. Looks like RECT still having trouble. It's beneath its view up right now, but still holding above the 175 area. So if we can turn around here and recapture view up, we might be able to attempt another move through that trend line.
I'll be damned.
What?
I'll be damned. I'll show you. I'm sorry. It's on the other chart. But if you recall, I had said in here, this is our fair value gap, which is unmitigated on RCT. And look what happened. We were looking at other stuff. I'll tell you what, the next step for me using AI, I was just given a rant on AI earlier. The next step for me is going to be to come up with some type of automated trading system so that when I'm doing stuff like this, the system is just kind of trading it for me so I don't keep missing some of these. This trade ended up working out great. I'd be selling into this move higher here, by the way, if anyone took that.
Lion asking if, about XLF.
Yeah, I wanted to get to this here. Another possible swing trade setup, right, Lion? This is a swing short. This would be more than just a day trade here. And judging by Goldman Sachs, which continues to be weak here, it's trading back down to the pre-market low. I think what you're saying here is, judging by Goldman Sachs, you think that the financials might kind of struggle during this early earnings season. XLF chart supports the move down as it looks like we're getting rejected by the 50-day. We might fill this gap to the downside here. Let me ask you, you said XLF puts. Let me press you a little bit on the strike and expiry for this. I can see the financials being a little bit weak here. I'd really like to talk to Tim Melvin about that and see if I can get any more insight from that. But nonetheless, let me know what the trade plan is here. I kind of like it. 13, what do you think on this? XLF swing short.
I mean, I've been saying that the XLF's kind of indicating to us that the market was going to head down anyway. The monthly chart, we lost the 20-month SMA. I thought that was the signal that we could be going lower. Here we are today. We're still beneath that 20-month SMA. And if we continue to trade beneath it this month and maybe even next month, I think that we run the risk of losing $48 support. If that happens, we go down to 44, I think.
Okay, so XLF puts. Lion, I'm pressing you. What do you think? Where's the strike and expiry on these puts? Let me go back to the main workspace here. Good stuff there. It looks like our CT halted to the upside. I think you called that one out already.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep, that was a nice little because you pointed out the fair value area that it went down to.
FFAI, we recently talked to them. They're trading higher here by about 10%. I know it's still a penny stock. Allo, this is trying to bounce off the 65 EMA. I don't know if I trust it, though.
I don't know what is going on with this one. I remember we talked about this one, but it just kept moving last week. BBGI, it's also up again 20%. I think now making new highs, or at least highs from December, coming back to those levels. But yeah, I don't know what to make of this one. I think somebody like Zoltan had a better idea of where this could go, but I was just looking at how this trades in the past. We get these large spikes and then it comes right back down. So I was like, I'm just going to be careful with this one or not play it at all.
3D says Marvell is on my long-term portfolio, a small position at 2260. Okay, so that's awesome. Where's the take profit on that, 3D? Are you going to wait for that trend line that we just looked at? Are you going to wait for a little bit more here? I mean, you're up big time on that. Big time. I don't think there's any problem with selling half there.
So, I mean, when did you get this? Did you get this back in 2020? You've been holding on to that for some time. If you picked it up for, in the 20s. Some discipline there.
Indeed. I like seeing discipline out of our group. That's for sure. Love it. Absolutely love it. IMA getting mentioned here. Crispy Biscuit. So this may be coming up off the bottom there, Crispy Biscuit.
Let's see here what we got with IMA. Maybe there's something on the daily chart that it's telling us. Okay, well, it looks like there's resistance up around 6. You got the 50-day SMA at 609. 6 was a support area before it became resistance. Now it's coming back up. We're testing that as resistance. How high do we go in the pre-market with this? We went up over almost 7.
So you guys are talking about this. So President Trump posts on Truth Social, the United States to blockade ships entering or exiting Iranian ports today at 10 a.m. Eastern. That happens in 13 minutes. That's the countdown you guys are given. I don't know. Are we going to expect anything right away? I feel like that might be a little bit more of a slow play there. RCT is open and pulling back to VWAP.
If anything, it would be the Iranians would. I think they said they were going to strike other ports if that happened. That's just what I remember reading. I don't know if they were going to follow through on that or not, but that's, I think, what they threatened.
Okay. Real quick here. Lion says, Ryan, did you see my comment on the XLF puts? Yes. Didn't I shout them? XLF 50 puts that expire in May. I'm sorry if I didn't. I did read it. Maybe I just didn't say it out loud because there's a lot going on. But XLF 50 puts for May. Let's actually take a look at those here real quick, Lion. Let's take a look at those. So we're currently at 50. So the 50 puts, let's see, what do we got here? 50 puts for May are a 95-cent ask here, Lion. You know what, Lion? F it. I'm going to join you on these. I'm not going to, I'm going to nibble a starter here. Let's see what I can end up getting for this. But I'm with you on this, Lion. I think you might be onto something here. I think you might be onto something. Let's see. All right, so nibbled a little bit there. I paid 93 cents. Lion, I'm with you. Short XLF 50 May puts. I'm with you on a starter there.
RACT is back above its VWAP. It's trying the trend line again. We still have sellers in the way at 205 and 210.
Whoa, we got a big push there in SPY. Did we get news on this? sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting you, 13. I don't. SPY's ripping here. So and darn it, I'm actually not in those calls. Oh, that is a bummer. That is a bummer. That happened fast. SPY new highs here, 678. Looks like we're going to 680.
Yeah, just be careful because this could just be a gap fill and we completely pull back.
Yeah. Like I was saying, I was looking to see what that news is. Don't see it here though.
That gap fill is going to, if we completely fill it, it's going to take us to 80.50. 680.50. Sorry. Looks like ALLO is turning around, testing VWAP now, trying to recapture it. RECT above VWAP, trying to push through. What's up?
Alpha's exactly right. I think oil is down. Oil is trading down here. But again, I was looking for the news that was kind of making it move like that. Trey here saying supposedly Pakistan states the ceasefire is still in place. And as a result, oil is selling off. SPY up to the highs. So the SPY oil relation, that's still on. We expected that. Okay, interesting. I'll tell you what. If you were in a SPY trade there, I was watching for one, but I wasn't in one. If you were in there, I would definitely book partial here on this move. I think that is just an absolute must. Iranians looking. Thank you, Big Bees. Iranians looking at abandoning uranium enrichment. That's per the New York Post.
Oh man. All right, RECT, is this going to be the move finally? It's trying to push through the trend line again.
And Lion, really quick here. Sorry, 13 for shifting gears again. Even on the back of this move higher and that news that we're seeing here, we're seeing Goldman Sachs trade down. So what do you got?
Go to RECT.
I already have it up on the screen. Never mind. I'm sorry for even asking that. Bang, right through that. I'll tell you what, some good stuff already here this morning.
Oh yeah. It's going to halt too.
Yep. Dream Chaser, appreciate you. There, the Chicago Realtor. I love it, guys. I love it, guys and gals.
So sorry to this took so long. I had this looked like this was going to break through that trend line. It just took a lot longer than I thought it was. But here we are. And RCT also still halted to the downside. So we might be getting out of this halt soon. And if we get those folks that were trading RECT to now move their attention over to RCT, there might be some more volatile price action over here on this one now, because this is going to halt first.
Jay, let me check that here real quick.
Looks like a lot of these names are turning around.
Jay wants me to post a list. Let me see if I can grab that here. Give me a sec, 13. Sure. I'm sorry, man.
Bitcoin's on the move. I'm going to be just saying things while you do that. So you tell me to be quiet when you need me to. Okay, that's moving up. Actually, let's do this. Boom. Albemarle having a really good day too. Expecting to see $200 in that one again soon. What's up?
I'm just going to share this tweet here. Instead of posting a huge chat list, I'm just going to share this tweet that Jay shared with me. Here it is real quick. Full list of photonic stocks by sector with strong growth potential for 2026 and beyond. It looks like this is kind of coming off of some of the photonic stocks that have been really great for our group here, like Light, CN, and AAOI. Those, of course, are all on here. But this is a really good list, Jay. This is a really good breakdown. That tweet is in the chat there. Thank you for posting this. Nice little chart to go with it. Good find there, Jay.
I think IBM and Honeywell should also be on there because I think they carry a significant number of patents on photonics and photonic chips. But anyway, thank you for that list.
Yeah, Jay, what are your favorites that haven't run yet off of this list? I noticed that LWLG that Kathy's been on is on here. GLW, which you traded, is on here. What is your favorite off of this list that hasn't moved big yet? Credo, Marvell, Broadcom, Poet, all on there. I feel like we've traded all of those recently.
RCT is open and lower, getting some support from the fair value area at the moment. We can't lose a dollar. Or
that gap already got hit, though. I would not take this for a trade on that gap.
Right. So we lose that dollar support, it's going to be a different animal. All right, let's see. What else is looking good here?
So with this post about Iranian officials studying the abandoning of uranium enrichment, is there a taco there? Or is that only reserved for Trump's side? Y'all have to let me know. Market, by the way, pulled back off the impulse move and is trying to go back to the highs. So we'll see if this has some staying power with it. And whoever was on Tesla earlier, someone was asking about Tesla earlier. I don't know if that was a short term or a long term here. Tesla has a nice move out of the gate, and this is actually has some call buying to support it. Those calls they look like they're all pretty short term. There are none that haven't already moved, Ryan. Patient, wait for a pullback. Okay, so with the list that Jay just shared, Jay, this is exactly what I was hoping for strategy-wise. With the list that Jay just shared here, waiting for a pullback to the 8 or the 21 day, I would add both of those there. I would add both of those and then see what kind of pullback you get. Appreciate that, Jay. Lion, I was not reading Trump tweets. I was reading the original tweeter was Walter Bloomberg, which is an automated Bloomberg X account. And they cited Iranian officials. Has nothing to do with Trump. Is Trump in the room with you right now?
He better not be. What's he doing there?
I was going to say, that would actually be horrific if that was the case. CoreWeave, good mention here. CoreWeave new highs is actually above Friday's highs. This continues to push up out of the gate. IWM went green, Jay. That's pretty good. That's actually helping Ondas here, which is still in the red, struggling to go red to green. VIX came into 20, by the way. It'll be interesting to see if we get a sub 20 print on the VIX. PayPal, even PayPal is showing some strength today.
Space Name's doing pretty well. We did have some more testing happen with Starship over the weekend. They did their spin prime test, which is where they test the Raptor engines. Spooling them.
I'm sorry, which ticker was this?
I'm just talking about the space names in general.
I'm sorry.
So keep an eye on those space names. I always am. They're having a good day right now. I mean, Rocket Lab is doing pretty good. Redwire is, ever since that news came out, it's been taken off. Rocket Lab, Lunar, yep. Those are.
I'll tell you what, all of those have been amazing. That has been a great little theme on top of energy for 2026. Yep, MBIS 154. Boy, that thing is just straight up today.
Now, how is Circle and CoreWeave looking today? Circle up 7%. That thing went straight up. And CoreWeave, how's that looking today? That's also up, but where are we at with this one? Because there was a level that I was waiting for this to hit. Okay. So we are coming up to some resistance here in CoreWeave. 115. I think at one point I was saying 120 was my resistance area. I think that time probably has passed. We're really overbought here on CoreWeave, and we're coming up to a resistance area that, like I said, the 115. So there's probably going to be some pullback happening soon at CoreWeave, but I don't think that we'll lose our 200-day SMA in that pullback. At least we shouldn't.
Okay, let's see how SanDisk is doing here. Talked a little bit about that this morning.
Rooster, thank you. Rect Open is back. It hit 277. Yeah, that thing took off. This thing was awesome. You just had to be patient.
That's RECT, right?
Yep.
I'll tell you what, that's doing better than RCT here. So you guys pick the winner. SPY trading back up to the highs off that initial pullback here.
I'm just going to say it. RCT can get wrecked.
Okay.
ALLO, this is climbing back up over VWAP. This one looks like it's curling back up. Resistance is still at 450. So even if we do still hold above VWAP, we got to climb past that 450 resistance. $5 will be the next resistance after that. That's the pre-market high. So 450 and 5 next resistance area in ALLO.
SPY trying to go for new intraday highs here.
We're also getting a nice lift in Bitcoin. Ever since we had that news happen.
Yeah, Bitcoin really defended 71K on the futures. Here's IGV, by the way. This is the tech software ETF. This thing having a pretty nice day as well. It's up 2.5%. IREN strong. IREN right at Friday's intraday highs. Lion mentioning Lin, which has been good. That's LIN. I know that's kind of a less popular one with just how expensive this one is.
It shouldn't be less popular. This is an awesome one.
It's just like GEV shouldn't have been less popular. It was the same price before it started going.
Well,
CRDO getting mentioned. That was off the list that Jay just gave, by the way, Alpha.
Well, I think when it comes to what's going on with Iran and the Middle East, I think Lind should have been a really important one because we talked about helium, and Lind is a big producer of it. So I think that was the big angle here. And also when it comes to Lind, this is also going to be a big producer of cryogenic gases for SpaceX, and they also do air separation, so pure oxygen and liquid oxygen. So Lind, very, very much thematic in multiple facets.
Okay, good stuff. Jay here saying SMH is red, IGV is green. Let's see if we get a divergent. I think you mean like a regression back to the mean, right? Let's see if those do any mean reversions. S&P hit new highs and is pulling back a little bit here. I know we're at this blockade time. We're actually over it by a minute. We'll see if we get any other headlines out of that. I'm sure we're going to at some point. Question is when and what. Don't have that on already.
Kathy mentioning that ALMU is popping. It's been rising all morning since the pre-market. It must have had news. Let me take a look here and see what we got. Luma. Trading higher after announced secured more than 4 million in contracts from the U.S. government to accelerate scaling of its semiconductor heterogeneous integration platform for quantum and high-speed datacom applications. This also has this is a short squeeze. 23.7% of the float shorted, 5.5 days to cover. That is our parameters. So we got news on top of high short interest. Be careful. They have filed to offer up to $500 million in common stock through agents. They filed that last month.
So we're expecting maybe a offering.
There could be an offering coming. Let's look at their financials with this real quick while we're on this one. Got $3 million in the bank as of. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong way. $38 million in the bank. They burned through a lot less than that. They should be fine, but I don't know if they're trying to scale up operations or not. They have some revenue. They don't. They're not. They're back and forth in profitability on a quarterly basis, but they have a lot of cash in the bank. So I don't know if they've already done that capital raise or not. Let's look at the secondary offerings here. Looks like they did. They did do that offering already. That's why they have so much cash. They did it on the 20th of March.
Okie dokie. Good stuff there. ALMU. Right. That BBGI was a Melvin stock. Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm glad one of those ran there. So Goldman Sachs line looks like it's holding that low, at least so far. See if this is all kind of short-lived here. That push was right up to 680 and stopped there. 13, weren't you talking about a potential gap fill? Let me see.
And this is which one?
I'm just looking at the SPY here. Weren't you talking? I'm
the SPY? Yeah.
I gotta spell this.
The So if you look like a 5-minute chart, the overnight price action, when I say overnight, it was actually over the weekend, we gapped down.
I see.
Yeah, there you go.
I see. Yep. Gotcha. So just kind of looking at this, like if I back this out, we actually did close the gap and go a little bit higher and kind of stop there. So we'll see if we get back above 680.
I think we fell slightly short. I think we're like 50 cents short because we went up to 680.02, and that gap fill should fill at 680.50, 52 or something like that. So I'm looking at the last candle from Friday. That's where the low is in the real body. So I think that we just kind of came up short, but we could turn around right here because 680 is also a very big resistance level.
Okay. Real quick, G-Man saying, guys, what's going on with Oracle? Oracle up 5.6% here. This thing has been straight up out of the open. Apologize for not being on this here. New Oracle Econex capabilities to improve project transparency. We got that in the pre-market. We got all of these here in the pre-market. Utilities achieve large-scale customer engagement and results with Oracle. So you got a bunch of PRs here, about the impact of AI. Oracle responding positively by over 5.5%. That's all the news that I have here. New tools to cut errors and improved project quality. So it looks like they're boosting their AI offering. And another good question here from Tracy. I know we talk about this a lot, but let me just go back and kind of reiterate this. Tracy's saying, when you guys say days to cover, is that how many days it takes to cover or how many days they have left to cover? Great question. This is how many days left to cover the open short positions based on the average volume. So in other words, if we were to look at the actual short interest page, which we show here all the time, it will tell us what the short percent of float is. It will tell us what the raw short interest is. In the case of Oracle here, this has a float of 1.71 billion. It's got 27 million shares held short. Based on its average volume, which is 22.45 million, it would take 1.23 days to cover all of the shorts held short. And so what we're trying to do here is we're trying to discover a metric or lean on a metric that if the stock starts moving against the shorts, how hard is it going to be for those shorts to exit their position? The higher the days to cover number, the higher that run could potentially go. This is a good question. I don't think we cover this enough, Tracy.
It looks like what we need to see out of Oracle is we need to see a recapture of that 50-day SMA. That's been the common moving average that has reversed price action, kept it the upside suppressed on two occasions, January 13th and March 11th. Only two times we've really had any interaction with it since we lost that level on October 29th. So I think that's the moving average we need to see recaptured. We start closing underneath that. We start closing above that. I think that's going to be our indicator that we're turning around. So I would say just a little bit higher than 150 when you just start seeing the price close.
Okay. Good stuff there. Zach says Ryan has to explain days to cover 3 times a year minimum. I remember asking that question a year ago. That's what we do, though. That's not a problem. Not a problem. Not a problem. All right, here. Oh, that's not what I meant. Oil continuing to move lower. SPY still holding, but actually still under 680. So we'll see if we can actually recapture that.
Looks like we're kind of taking a little bit of a breather here in some of these names. Consolidation with some of the ones that ran up and haven't come back in. Looks like RECT trying to get some support from the 9 EMA and maybe push higher. We'll see if that ends up happening.
Thinking about it, LOL. Thinking about it's got all the jokes there.
Yeah, we didn't want to have, the whole chat just filled of AEHR.
We discussed that at the company-wide meeting. We said there's this guy thinking about it. He continues to talk about this stock, and we are just loving the fact that we're not talking about it here today. He's probably pissed, and it's awesome to see that comment.
There's a whole
boss.
There's a whole like sub channel full of memes about it.
Oh, you folks are fun. You folks are fun.
I'm just waiting for, it looks to me like Albemarle's trying to push higher into this over 184. Some sellers in the way there, and it's really thin. I'm just, cycling through the stocks. I just noticed that this thing ran up and it just went sideways. So somebody doesn't want this thing to hit 185, but I'm looking for 200 again.
SkyQ pulled back. We kind of mentioned being cautious on that one. Don't be fooled by any of these fake out moves higher. I'm glad it behooves you to have fun, Marty. That's what we're all about here. Leg and Platt, what was this?
Lots of stuff really slowing down here.
Acquired. Yeah, it does kind of feel like that. And the SPY here, so it had that nice little shoot up to 680, but it can't do anything from this area. It actually is just trading sideways, it looks like.
Yeah, Nike at 12-year lows. Is it? I thought it was more than that, but they are certainly at a very low point. Let me look here because I thought it was more than that. Nope, it is 12. Well, it'll be 12-year lows in October. We're at October 2014 prices right now.
Lion saying dollar cost averaging Nike may be a good long-term position. This is one that we've been discussing a lot on Happy Hour. Mm-hmm. The big thing I can't get over is that what product of Nike's is dominant? I understand the whole like contrarian stock thing. It's really beaten down. All of that makes complete sense to me. But what's the story beyond the stock for Nike that's positive? I don't see it.
Well, I mean, they're one of, I think they're the largest apparel company in the world.
And you know what? And 13 along the apparel line, I know Rory just won the Masters. He was donning a Nike hat and a Nike shirt. So maybe they're getting a little bit of boost from that.
Well, I think what the real problem with Nike is their old inventory levels and, some of their non-performing segments. I'm trying to think of what that one the shoe brand is. We talked about it last week, but it seems like they need to sell some of their non-performing segments, or do something with that inventory because it's really hurt their margins.
Yeah.
So there's still some things they need to do, and then now they have their one of their lead innovators is leaving after over 30 years at the company. So. Not a great looking sign either. And he was only in that position for, less than a year. And I'm a little concerned that I think this new position that was created for, I think his name's Phil, what is it? It starts with an M. It's McCranston or something like that. Hold on, I'll get the name. But I think that since he's been put in that position, I think there's been problems with the upper management. How things are getting done.
Really quickly, EKS saying most of all the golfers at the Masters were wearing Nike logos. I guess now that I'm thinking about that, you're right. I didn't notice that at the time. And as far as the hats go, I was shook when I saw the Eat Egg Salad hat. I was like, I can't see anything else.
Phil McCartney, that's who it is. So
I'll buy Nike when LeBron retires. Okay. Well, you know what? You probably won't have to wait that long. I don't know. What has he got? 1-2 years left tops? There was speculation he was going to play 1 year with his kid and then retire. Still going.
All right, there we go. Albemarle finally got over that 185. Wasn't on very much volume, but we're up here now. Let's see if we can continue higher.
SPY still kind of having some indecision up there at 680. MBIS stopped at about 155, 154.80 was the high. VIX continues to come in a little bit. Oil continues to come in a little bit, although that is slowing its roll back in. So, and then Bitcoin holding here 71,750 on the futures.
Nike might be end up being better with the World Cup. A lot more exposure.
Now that's coming here a couple months. And Lion, what do you think about that? You're out here talking about a long-term trade on Nike. What do you think about possible World Cup sympathy or trades well with the World Cup? What do you think about that?
There are some teams that are sponsored by Nike or are wearing Nike gear. So, if they end up doing well, it's going to be good for Nike. Looks like Rex. So
here we go. So Selena asks, sorry, 13. Selena, look at Albemarle, by the way, just popped again here. Really quickly, Selena asking about COF. This is Capital One Financial. So we just talked about financials maybe being weak. Goldman Sachs maybe being a little bit of a precursor to that. What do you think here about COF for Selena? COF, I have no position in, or excuse me, Selena, I have no position in CEF by itself. I did just nibble on an XLF short here today that we discussed in the group. By the way, here is the earnings calendar for this week. All right, so we got Goldman Sachs here this morning. As you can see, we have a couple of reports here this afternoon, but nothing big. But tomorrow we actually get Citibank in the morning. CarMax, JPM, BlackRock, Wells Fargo. So we get three bigger banks there. Looks like we're also going to get JB Hunt on Wednesday after the close. Looks like we're also going to get ASML, Bank of America, Progressive, Morgan Stanley this week. So we've got a number of banks on here.
So when it comes to Capital One,
eBank,
this doesn't. The last time we had a death cross in this was back in 2021, and that lasted for 2 years before we saw a golden cross that took us back up. So we could be seeing some slightly lower prices, maybe some sideways price action for a time. That's kind of what happened last time we went down here. But I think the indicator for me is going to be if we can get back above this 50-day SMA. That hasn't happened yet. That's currently resistance, though it does look like it's trying to come back up and recapture that. So I'd say we'll see. But the big challenge is going to be recapturing that 200-day SMA. If it can't do that, then I think we end up coming back down beneath the 50-day SMA and go lower.
Okay. Selena, let me know if that helps. Their earnings next Tuesday after market closes. By the way, all of those Tesla call traders, those have flipped to puts, at least what looks like the last 20 minutes or so here, 10 minutes maybe. And NBIS still has upside call buying going on for it as well. Trey says, regarding COF, I started an initial long-term position because of its synergies and hopefully moving towards Amex model as both the bank and the transaction holder. Hopefully they're moving away from Visa and MasterCard. Okay. So you have a initial long-term long on COF.
We'll see if it can hold 175. That looks like that's the support for, that we got in March and pretty much March. So we can hold above there. We should come back up above the 200, but that's going to be the support underneath the 50-day SMA.
All right, here's Marvell. So this came in a little bit, still holding on to green. See if we actually get a green to red move. That would be no bueno. Looking around here, looks like a lot of stuff has slowed down, 13.
Yeah, it was excitement over that piece of news, and then everybody's like, okay, let's see what happens next.
Had to be quick on that. We'll see if we get a pullback to the VWAP.
What's the SPY doing right now? I mean, has it given everything back?
No, it's basically back down to its 9 EMA here. SPY's at 678.62. I would like to see it hold 678. I've actually got the VWAP. Let me give you that exact value there. VWAP at 677.46.
I've got a previous all-time high here of 678.47. That was support on pretty much on Friday and Thursday. Thursday, once we captured it, that's been the support with all the sideways price action since getting up here. So that needs to hold up. And if it does, then we're going up through 680.
Real quick, 3D says sold a few on Marvell, 131. Way to book gains there. That's from 22. That's a big time win, 3D. Really good stuff on that. Really, really good stuff on that. Lion saying, Ryan, those World Cup tickets are so expensive. I don't doubt it. It cost me $3,800 for 3 of them. Oh my god. So you're taking your son. Are you taking your wife too? That's just awesome that you're going, to be quite honest with you. Congrats. And thank you, Jay, for the platform help there. Still seeing Tesla puts get bought here. You guys were asking about Hood earlier. That's holding on to green. I'm seeing some call buying here on Hood. Only up just shy of 1%.
Let's see here. It looks like Hood is going to try and go higher. It's got a bit of a flag pattern happening here.
Okay.
I would say 71 is probably going to get hit on this pattern resolving.
Okay. Lion, who are you rooting for in the World Cup? Do you root for France? Let me know. Is the OGN news catalyst sustainable? 3D with the direct questions. Let's give her some direct answers.
All right.
I love it. Organon. I don't even think I looked at this news here, 3D, this morning. Did we get the ticker right? I don't see any news fresh here for OGN. Maybe I got the ticker wrong. You root for Morocco. Okay, cool. That's not
where he's from, isn't it?
I don't know where he's from. I think he's... Oh, no, he speaks French. Maybe not that he is French. Nonetheless, Morocco not necessarily a soccer powerhouse. Cool. 3D, did I get that ticker right? And if I did, what am I missing on the news?
Well, what's interesting about this is that this is the highest short interest it's ever had, and it's got 6 days to cover.
Okay, and she's talking about last week's news.
Okay. Oh.
So I think it's this one.
They're getting bought. Sun Pharma targets $12 billion acquisition of Organon. So they're getting acquired. That's what you're asking about?
Final stages of his most ambitious overseas acquisition.
So that must be it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I don't know if I have enough answer or info to answer her question though.
Go back and see what that question was.
She was just asking, is the news catalyst sustainable? I mean,
well, let's see here.
They're going to get bought out. I just don't know what that necessarily means for the price.
It is a binding offer. There's probably a filing that discusses this in detail. But I don't know where that is, if there is one.
Yeah, so probably not. Yeah, I just don't know how much higher this is actually going to go. It seems like good news, though. I mean, they're going to get acquired.
Okay, so Sun Pharma is going to be submitting a firm bid in the coming weeks. So this is talking about the offer of them getting bought out. That nothing's been made formal yet, but the plan appears to be that they are going to be buying this company.
And so in that case, maybe you'll see another pop higher. You're trying to sell it at the highest price possible. Maybe you want to take part in a sell the news event, right? Like we kind of have the rumor or the lead up going on. Maybe you want to sell into the move higher.
I mean, you could read the Economic Times report on this. I think there was one of our chat members said that it was $12 a share.
Here it is. EKS. The deal is confirmed at this level. You would likely see the stock jump towards $11.50 to $12.50 immediately, trading at a slight discount to the $12.87 offer. That's what we were looking for, EKS. Good stuff. NBIS new highs, by the way.
So there's still some meat on this bone.
Yeah. So in other words, 3D, there is still some meat on this bone. Producer, are you there? Are you there? Left a little meat on that one. Inside joke from the golf course. That's neither here nor there. So 13, I think you might be able to get a couple bucks more if this does trade up there. Maybe wait for that news event and then sell into that event.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get too worried about top ticking it though. Sounds like you're still holding on to a winner.
Yeah. So to answer the question, it does look like it's sustainable. It looks like the deal is happening. It's kind of interesting too, because it put in a double bottom off that news. And we're recapturing the 200-day SMA, also a good sign. I mean, if the company's already said that they're going to go through with it and they're just finalizing everything, I think they have to get three banks on board to finalize this deal. Then I think it's just a matter of time. So coming weeks, probably you'll see this maybe before the end of April. We'll see news. OGN. Let's see what happens later on this month if we get this on one of our movers.
Tiny Pie's asking if producer got smoked on the course from the host last week. No, in fact, the producer of all of the people that played, the producer was the most consistent. He put on a show for some of us. We did a 2v2 and we split. So we played twice and we split. But there's no beating around the bush. Producer was hitting the ball better than anybody else, and it wasn't particularly close. So if he is playing by himself, he would have dominated our faces. There you go.
So Battalion Oil, when we looked at today, not having a good day off that news of the that Iran's looking at giving up their nuclear ambitions.
Apparently, according to Zach here, there's some back and forth threats here. Trump, if any Iranian ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they will be eliminated.
And there's going to be a lot of this.
Me too. I think so too. And I'll tell you what, the market does not really look like it cares a whole lot about that. Maybe that's too early of a read, but
I think it was only a matter of time before the desensitization started to affect the market, and we might be starting to see that. But I don't want to say that. Oh yeah, the market's totally desensitized to it, because we were still reacting to these happenings here as it relates to oil.
And you're welcome, 3. That's what we do here. Thanks for giving us a question for us to discuss.
Yeah, I was actually fun looking into that.
And I just want to point out that at no point did she say, "Should I buy this?"
Mm-hmm.
Right. Other great questions that allowed us to arrive at an end point there. That was good. That was really good. I like that. I like having discussions like that. All right. SPY looks like it's still struggling with 680, but I tell you what, it does not look like it wants to have a big time pullback here today. Goldman Sachs is still holding the 870 low. XLF has continued to creep higher, Lion, but we're going to wait that one out. Ondas is higher. That's good, Zach.
Trey, who has $8 billion in debt? Is it the one we were just talking about? Because I don't know if that'll really matter if the company that is picking it up has terms that say, no, we're acquiring this for this much per share, and that's that. The debt is going to be something else they deal with. But if they're looking to pick up that company for that specific share price, then it doesn't matter what the debt is. But if you're talking about something else, then ignore that.
LWLG. I got to be honest with you, Kathy. I got to take more of your calls when we play some of these. You have just been absolutely in fuego. This stock continues to move higher here. I feel like this is more than 100% from when we first looked at it. Wasn't this $4?
Take care, Line.
Lion, take care of yourself, my man. We'll be back tomorrow. And by the way, as mentioned, that little meeting thing, that was we're back to full schedule starting today.
Oh yeah.
So we are back to, I think this thing was $6. So I think it's a double from when Kathy initially brought this to the group.
Congratulations on your 100% gain.
Yeah. I'm just estimating based on the chart, but this was a real good one from our group here.
Man, some of these, these space names are absolutely flying right now. No pun intended. Jay, Momentous, I think that's the best one that's performing today. 18% it's up right now. Almost everything else is up well over 1%, if not 5%. So the ones that are down today includes Sats, Siri, WiseKey, and York Space. Those are the only ones down.
Ondas calls floating in now. Those are the May 13 calls. They bought nearly 6,000 of them, folks. That is a long call by there on Ondas. I haven't done anything other than add once to my September 18 calls, by the way, on that.
So one thing that's been moving really nicely, I know we have to split, is the rare earths have begun to move again off that news. So even if this situation gets resolved, I think this is going to be a really put China in a very, very tough spot, and it's going to be interesting to see how this affects the meeting with Trump and Xi. So I think the rare earths are something we want to keep an eye on. I'm looking at USAR, CRML, and maybe even some of the really well-established ones like FCX as well. So keep an eye on those mining names.
All right, Joe, the Ondas calls from today were May 13s. The Ondas calls that I bought last week are September 18s. So I just have more length on mine. 13, we are done here for the group. Chicago Realtor real quick says, Ryan, how did your meetings go last week in Detroit? We're glad to have you back. First of all, I'm glad to be back. I'm sure everyone is. Meetings were real good, though. I'll just say this here before I turn it over to 13. I am extremely lucky that I work for a team where the people that make up the team, they're all incredible. Even the ones I don't talk to often or don't get to work with regularly, a lot of incredible people there, and being able to meet them in person was awesome. So from top to bottom, it was great. Thanks for asking. 13, any closing words for the group?
Another fantastic day hanging out here with y'all, making some money, talking stocks. I love doing this. Let's get our capital together, enjoy our rest of our day, and come back here and we'll do it all over again tomorrow. Folks, have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. All
right, sounds good. And I'll say, as 13 exits here, really good stuff from him as per usual, and I love the shirt. The one thing I will say, a lot of you folks are saying glad we're back. That's good. I'm glad that you find benefit from our show here, and I'm just gonna use this as kind of a cheap shot, and I'm sorry. Please hit that like and subscribe button. It is free, it is easy, and it helps us. And if you guys were missing us for just a couple of days, that means that we are doing something correct here. Help support us. Tell your friends, hit that like and subscribe, turn that little notification on so you can get updates from us. Folks, have a good one. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We will be back tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Monday.